I truly believe those were done by the CIA. All of a sudden we're morally superior and Putin's bad? The fuck? No way. I believe we're in a time right now where people would vote for Hitler over Trump because they're that fucking stupid. I'm gonna try to bribe you before I kill you.
That's very noble.
It's very noble. You're getting a chance. It's the same concept that Pablo Escobar had in Colombia, the plata o plomo, which I find that to be wild. You don't live in Mexico. You haven't been in Mexico. You don't suffer the consequences of Mexican politics, and you should not be allowed to vote. It's so crazy. People are so naive. You know, they wake up every day. They work 9 to 5. They watch the football game on the weekend, and they don't realize how much evil is out there, right? They don't realize how much the CIA, the DEA, the FBI has infiltrated their lives. They don't understand mind control.
Allegedly. YouTube, allegedly.
Allegedly, like that didn't get hit by anything. Allegedly. How do these other buildings that had nothing to do with the Twin Towers go down at the same time? People are so fucking stupid. You imported voters is what you did. It's by the way, it's fucking genius. Like, people think that they live like, oh, I'm gonna work 9 to 5, I drink my 6-pack, ha ha ha, I watch the fucking game. Motherfucker, not everybody lives like that. I will defend this country against anybody, any enemy, domestic or foreign or domestic. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna defend it. How come America is still the #1 country everybody wants to come to? So I can get you to give me all your little fucking stats and shit. I get all that. I'm not a fucking idiot, I get it. That everybody wants to come here because we're the badasses. We don't want to pay T on taxes. Nobody does. And now Americans are like, pay your fair share. What? How the fuck did that happen?
One thing before we start, YouTube is suppressing my channel just because of the content. So I would like to ask you for 3 simple things. Number 1, just like this video. Number 2, leave a comment. And number 3, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and peers. That's it for now. Thank you and keep watching the podcast. Let me properly introduce you, bro.
Okay.
So, Ricardo Aguilar Fuentes Chavez. Correct?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's a self-made man and the chairman's counsel at PHP agency. He was born in East Bakersfield on the streets and had very humble beginnings. After struggling with lawfare and his way of living, Ricardo is leading his team, The Chosen Ones, at PHP Life Insurance Agency and is a top earner in that company. He is very proud of his Mexican heritage and is deeply concerned about the current situation in Mexico. Once a convicted felon, now Ricardo is a married man that travels the world, drives his team members to become financially stable and independent, and is also a community member. Mr. Aguilar is a Republican and a proud Trump supporter. His worldviews is driving the left nuts, but he's unapologetic for it. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Everything's correct?
Yes.
Bro, so the last time we did a podcast, we kind of broke the internet, right?
We did, yeah. 10 million views combined with all short clips and everything.
No, bro.
Was it more?
More, way more so.
I tracked 10 million. Like, with short clips that people were taking, obviously putting them on their pages. Not just your page, like in general. People would send me short clips of like that other people had made of our video, of our podcast. And I counted 10 million. Maybe you counted more.
Only on my accounts, I believe I had 10 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so but you know what? So our podcast, you screwed my channel. You know why?
Why?
Because at that time I had 3,000 subscribers, right?
Right.
So I posted our podcast, that was August 31st.
Uh-huh.
Only 3 months later, 2 to 3 months later, our short clips went viral. Only 2 months later.
Uh-huh.
And then I got 40,000+ subscribers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
But the engagement has went down big time.
Really?
Yeah. So I have a big channel, but the views are very low.
Okay.
We gotta keep up, bro.
We gotta spice it up.
Yes, of course. All right. So let's start with with Mexico. So we were supposed to do a podcast, I want to say May 18th.
Yeah.
It was right after the Mexican election.
Right.
What the hell is going on right there? Because, listen, so this is Wikipedia's page. Up to 60 politicians were assassinated during the pre-campaign and campaign periods in Mexico. NBC News. From September to May, 34 candidates or aspiring candidates have been assassinated, with most killings linked to drug cartels seeking to influence local elections. Reuters. Mexico's election is now the bloodiest in its modern history after a candidate running for local office in central Puebla state was murdered on Friday at a political rally, taking the number of assassinated candidates to 37. What the hell is going on?
Well, that's not anything new with Mexico. Mexico's always done that. So Mexico's always assassinated potential politicians that were wanting to take leadership roles, whether it be on a district level, on a state level, on a federal level, and even become presidents. It's not surprising to us. We've always known that. Yeah.
34 candidates, 34 people minimum were killed that were aspiring candidates.
Yeah. Yeah, it's normal. It's not nothing, like to us, like it's normal. It's not like, oh, wow. No. No, we know that. Yeah, this is normal. It's always happened. They kill people that want to become mayors all the time, like all over the country. So that number is actually, that you guys are aware of over here in America, or if you're whatever part of the world you're watching this from, that's
regular life.
That's regular life. That's like, okay, it's just every day, another day in Compton. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
2 months ago, they almost killed one guy here in the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the world got crazy.
Yeah. No, Mexico is very, very common. I mean, you got to think there's billions of dollars that are, especially with, fentanyl and all that stuff that's coming out, the new drugs that are coming out, they're so much more profitable than cocaine is. And so therefore, these people got to make sure they stay in power, and they have to be with candidates that are going to support them. So if I know that you're going to crack down, these people were murdered after there was an attempt to bribe them. So what I mean by that is that first, like for example, Paulo, I'm going to come up to your candidate, and you're a popular candidate, right? And people like you. I'm going to try to bribe you before I kill you. And so
that's very noble.
It's very noble. You're getting a chance. So like, hey, look, this is what it comes down to. Like these people that got killed were not just everyday Joe Blows that had no momentum. Mm-hmm. These people that you're reading about that got killed all had momentum. They had a popularity amongst the people.
They got their 15 minutes of
They had their 15 minutes of fame. So when you see a candidate, you're gonna kill them until one says yes. It's the same concept that Pablo Escobar had in Colombia, the plata o plomo, which is either silver or a bullet. That's either you choose one or the other. So in Mexico, the plata o plomo is a very, very, very common way of doing things. Either you align or you're gonna die. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. But it's nothing out of this world for people that live in Mexico. We're aware of it. Yeah, they kill mayors all the time.
So the new president is Claudia Sheinbaum, right? So
she is a Jewish feminist socialist. It's the most dangerous combination.
How is it possible?
Because minority groups are very emotional. I'll give you an example.
First of all, do you think the election was cheated over there?
Oh, absolutely.
It wasn't fair?
No, of course. It's never fair in Mexico. It's never been fair. It's not fair here, let alone over there. No, it's never. Mexico elects a president that the cartels want. Well, the more not all the cartels, the most powerful cartel. Because, for example, if she was funded by Cartel de Sinaloa, Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, or whatever the bigger cartels, she's going to be the opposition to the other cartels, because she's going to make sure that the military, the Marines, go after the opposing cartel. Mm-hmm. So when people are like, oh, the cartels elected them. No, not all of them. They fight each other. So it's whoever has the most money. That's basically whose candidate she's from. And so therefore, it seems like, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems like this was a president that was elected by the Sinaloa cartel. So
that's the most powerful?
No, they are not the most powerful. People
they're about to become.
No, they're not. They're actually on the downfall. And the people on your show here that don't understand how this works, you're like, Sinaloa. No, it's not. it's actually very fractured right now, and it's been fractured for the past 5 years. The most powerful cartel in Mexico right now is Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, and so they're the most influential. They're united, and they're the most powerful and have the most money right now. Sinaloa cartel is now divided up in 3 different sections. And so, like, Sinaloa doesn't even control all of Sinaloa anymore. Southern Mexico, you have El Chapo Isidro, which is an opposition to the Chapo's kids. Like, they don't even control their own state, let alone control anything else. So do they have influence? Sure. But they don't have the maximum control, like when Chapo in El Mayo, that was just recently apprehended in Arizona, Texas. When they were in power and they were, running everything, yeah, they were the most powerful, but those days are over now. And again, your viewers that only listen to songs about and listen to, that don't understand this, are going to say, no, Sinaloa, it's the most popular, but it's no longer the most powerful. They've been out of power not out of power completely, but they've lost a lot of their power over the course of the past 5 years.
So you're basically telling me the story of Game of Thrones.
It's Game of Thrones. By the way, when has this never happened? At one point, the most powerful cartel in Mexico was the Cartel de Guadalajara, right? And that was by Rafael Caro Quintero. And he, so, by the way, in Colombia, at one point, it was a Cartel de Medellin, right? Like,
yeah.
Not everybody, what's Murphy's Law? What goes up must come down. You know what I mean? You're not going to stay in power forever. Sure, you're always, like, you think about the Medellin cartel, Cali cartel. They're always going to ring a bell.
Mm-hmm. Because they were on the show, on the Netflix show.
Because they had their time, right? Sinaloa cartel's always going to ring a bell, but they're no longer the most powerful cartel in Mexico, in the world. At the very least, they're not the most powerful anymore.
So basically, Mexico is a huge country with huge population, and it's just Game of Thrones of
Game
cartels.
Of Thrones of cartels, yeah. So she's a Jew, and I don't see that in the wrong way. I know that you have Jewish viewers, nothing wrong against Jews, but Mexico is not a Jewish country.
Yeah, at all.
It's not. So you have a Jew feminist socialist. And by the way, they were letting people that live here in America
to vote for her
at the embassies, at the Mexican embassies. So my in-laws voted in the last election, which I find that to be wild. You don't live in Mexico. You haven't been in Mexico. You don't suffer the consequences of Mexican politics. You should not be allowed to vote.
But they're citizen.
They're citizens, but they don't live there. They live here.
Yeah, but I don't live in Lithuania as well.
And by the way, I don't believe you should be able to vote in Lithuania either.
Really?
You live here. Why? You're not going to suffer the consequences of decisions being made over there.
But I have loved ones over there, my relatives.
Let them vote. They live there.
They're too lazy.
Well, that's fine, but I don't think you. I don't believe. By the way, no matter you and me align politically, even though I would align with you politically over there. I would not want you to vote in your home country's elections if you live here. You're going to suffer the consequences of the election here. You will not suffer the consequences of the elections back home. I didn't vote in Mexico, even though I'm a dual citizen and I have my INE, which is my ability to be able to vote in Mexico. I didn't because I'm very well aware that I am not going to suffer the consequences of their elections. I'm going to suffer the consequences of the country that I live in.
Yeah, but there are two choices. There are two reasons why people flee their country or leave their country, right? So, for instance, I didn't flee Lithuania because of seeking for asylum or something. I just wanted a better life, and I thought that I can do a podcast worldwide. That's why I have to go to the US. That's it. So, in my opinion, I think that in that way I should vote. But if you flee the country because it's so terrible, then maybe you don't have a right to vote. But you will never determine who's who.
Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to go about it. It's just my personal opinion. I just believe that if you're not there to suffer the consequences of your decision, then you shouldn't be able to vote there. It's that simple. I don't believe that Mexicans that live in America should vote in Mexican elections. You don't live there. So let me tell you why. They don't know what's going on over there.
Yes.
Okay? All they're getting is their information from the news. For us, it's Telemundo, Univision, TV Azteca. You're getting the brainwashed version of what you think is happening in Mexico.
And what they're brainwashing you with?
Of course, what they're brainwashing you with. But American, Latino channels are brainwashing you.
Yeah, but what they're saying? That the country is great or
that
the country is...
this is going to be our... By the way, what the CNN, MSNBC... New York Times does here with the liberals, right? They're the best, they're the noble, they're the accepting, they're the loving.
So right? Telemundo is left.
Telemundo, Univision, TV Azteca, they're all left. There is no right wing or no neutral channel in America that is a neutral channel. As a matter of fact, they bash Trump here and they're not even involved in American politics. So if your decision is going to be based on not your lived experience in Mexico, or not your lived experience in Canada, or not your lived experience in El Salvador, or not your lived experience in Africa, don't fucking vote there, bro.
Because you're brainwashed.
You're brainwashed. You're only getting the version of whatever the media wants you to know about. So why should you vote in a country? By the way, you're still, like, no matter what way you look at it, you're not going to suffer the consequences of that election. So stay out of it. So worry about your country that you live in right now, because that's what's going to affect you.
That's a very good point. So I lived in Lithuania for 33 years. Then prior to coming to the US, I lived in Spain for 2 years.
You shouldn't vote there either.
I didn't. So guess If you watch Lithuanian or any other Europeans' media, guess what's the narrative about the U.S.?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I'll guess, but I don't know.
Guess. I'm curious.
Here's what I've heard from people from Britain.
Okay.
So I'm going to go that route because
Okay.
I haven't heard people from Lithuania or Spain. Okay. The last one I heard about from a Brit was that when you get off the airport, you're going to get shot because we're a dangerous country because we have guns. So I'm not saying all Brits believe that, but the narrative in Great Britain.
And you get stabbed in London.
Yeah, you get stabbed in London, but here, as soon as you get off the plane, you're going to get shot. So that's the only. I don't know what Lithuania or Spain or Africa or Canada or I don't know what their ideology is towards America.
So the whole media of Europe is headed towards the U.S. being super liberal. If you watch only media in Europe, you will think that U.S. is super Democrat, super blue, super liberal. Lots of gays. Every other is gay. Every other is transgender, etc.
That makes sense.
But once I got here, I was like in maybe 3, 5, 6 months after I got here, I was like, wait a minute. So this country is not blue at all. It's a red country.
It is.
Only the major cities are blue. This is a very godly country. Lots of people go to church. You will never see that, neither in Britain, neither in Spain, Lithuania, no other countries. The churches here are packed every Sunday. So that's bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a good. I didn't know that. You know.
Another one. So guess what? Russian, since I speak Russian, so guess what Russian and Lithuanian conservatives think of the U.S.?
Oh, that we're in demise and that we're going to go to shit and, you know, we're being ran by lunatics. I'm sure that's what they think and they believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've studied a lot on Putin. I've watched all his interviews. And, I don't want to say all because obviously I can't, you know, he's been in power for 20-something years, but I've watched the more modern and he always talks about how we're going to go to shit and we're in demise and we can't control our own country and you know what I mean. And people are running wild over here when I'm watching the interviews. Like I watched the one that Tucker Carlson did with him, and yeah, I can see the conservatives over there thinking that we're lunatics over here.
So conservatives of Lithuania love U.S. We had I want to say a march this year and a march in 2020 for Trump with the flags, with everything, right? But the conservative of Lithuania say that, bro, it's a pedophilia country. It's a pedo capital of the world.
Well, it's ironically, you know who's the biggest consumer of pornography in the world? No.
They say that that's the U.S.
No, it's actually, and they hate that I say this. It's actually in the Middle East. So Pakistan being one of them. Yeah, I was talking about this with one of my Middle Eastern friends. He's like, no, there's no way because he's Muslim. No. I'm like, bro, calm down. You guys are just sick in the head too.
Every time I get on Twitter, every day I see the news. Illegal immigrant from this, and that country raped 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 13-year-old.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, our citizens have done it too.
Of course.
Yeah. But we're going to get more of the news of the ones that, you know, that are here illegally because there's got to be a narrative. But, I mean, they're the biggest consumers of pornography in the Middle East. Yeah, on the other side of the world.
And Lithuanian and Russian conservatives are literally laughing at your army, especially at Rachel.
Yeah. Rachel,
him, she, her.
Levine,
yeah.
Levine, yeah.
They can't apprehend. They just can't acknowledge it. How is it possible? Like, who is this? This is a woman. This is a man. Why he, she, it is in charge?
Well, it's just because the Democrats and the liberals, their number one objective is to have power, right? They don't care about anything else. They only want power. And so they need the votes to have that power. And so, you know, I don't know if you remember the movie Gladiator. I was just watching it 2 nights ago at my house. I love that movie. And I can't remember the guy his name was on the sword. The
Maximus.
one that, not Maximus, the one that bought Maximus, the slave owner. I don't remember his name. I just saw it a couple of days ago. He says, if you want to win, you have to win the crowd.
Yes,
right.
That's
And in order, and keep in mind, by the way, what did the king's son do? He did games for 150 days to keep him distracted of what he was doing behind, which was he was trying to get rid of the Senate, because his father's dying wishes, if you remember the movie at the beginning, was for Rome to become a republic again.
Yes.
right? And it to become a republic means you can no longer have a king and the power goes to the Senate because the people elect the Senate. Well, he did 150 days of games because he was plotting on how to get rid of the Senate so he wouldn't lose the empire. What's the difference that we do now? We do the same thing. We keep you distracted with all this bullshit. By the way, there was a shooting today.
Yeah, in Georgia.
Right? In Georgia. And my condolences to those families that have lost. There was 4 people as of right now killed and 30 wounded. And my condolences to them. And I hope that people that are listening to me right now can separate what I'm about to say. I truly believe those were done by the CIA. I truly believe Sandy Hook. I truly believe. And by the way, they have evidence of a lot of it. There were the theater shooting, the cinema shooting. Right? Apparently he was hypnotized when he went in there and shot all those people. Like, it's so crazy that people are so naive. You know, they wake up every day, they work 9 to 5, they watch the football game on the weekend, and they don't realize how much evil is out there, right? They don't realize how much the CIA, the DEA, the FBI has infiltrated their lives. They don't understand mind control. They just think it's some lunatic person that went and did that. Like, for example, it's been proven 100 times, a million times. People are out there, whatever. I don't give a fuck what any of y'all think, to be honest with you. 9/11 was an inside job.
Building 7.
Like, how did the Twin Towers blow up at the bottom and fall when they were, how did the heat, it would take heat, like the sun, to melt that building all the way to the ground. It fell perfectly down. It didn't fall to the sides. It fell perfectly down. And then on top of that, the building where they were investigating billions of dollars being lost through Congress, that one blew up too. That one didn't get hit by anything.
Allegedly. YouTube, allegedly.
Allegedly. Like, that didn't get hit by anything. Allegedly. How do these other buildings that had nothing to do with the Twin Towers go down at the same time?
How about the BBC reporter reports?
It's the Coliseum. It's the games. You got to get people distracted, hit them emotionally, and then eventually control them. So, and just people are so fucking stupid. They just don't open their eyes to that.
People are not stupid. They're getting fucked every day.
They're stupid.
They're working 2 jobs just to get the food on the table. Then they're
okay.
They're worrying about the border.
Yeah, but here's the thing though.
The communists right here.
Here's the thing though, man. What 2 devices do you have in front of you right now?
2 devices, laptops.
Is there anything you could do on those things that I can't do on this? So you telling me on my break, instead of watching stupid ass Netflix, I can't go online and figure out what's going on?
Maybe it's too hard for them. I don't know.
It's not hard. We live in a time of smartphones and stupid people. You want to be stupid. You're stupid by choice. How do you have 2024 AI technology where I can literally press this twice and Siri will come up? You can't fucking talk to Siri. How are you in a time where you have all the technology at the fingertips of your hand and literally with your voice you could ask any question and you're that fucking dumb? You're doing it by choice. We live in an era of smartphones and stupid people. It's that simple.
Okay, how do you acknowledge the thing that is going on right now in Aurora, Colorado, or in Chicago, when the gangs from Venezuela are just taking over the buildings? As an American, you can't apprehend this stuff. Like, how is it freaking possible in 2024?
It's possible because a stupid-ass Democrat party that everybody loves, half of the country loves, it seems to be compassionate. It's compassion. They're voters. They're trying to pass the laws right now to get them amnesty. 20 million, 30 million people came over. Dude, that's total control. By the way, do you know what the difference is in political elections, presidential elections? You know what the difference is of one party winning or the other? You know what the number of voters are, give or take?
In the U.S.?
In the U.S.
So it's up to 150 million.
Well, there's 150 million voting, but I'm saying like the difference between who wins and who loses.
A few million.
It's a few million.
Yeah.
It's 3 to 5 million.
Yes.
You let in 30 fucking million people.
They're saying 15, I want to say.
No, you let in 30 million people. Art, he's in the border. He's a border. He works for Border Patrol. He's a very good friend of mine. You guys should follow him. I'm gonna find him and I'll give you the link. So finally, he does all. He comes on a lot of podcasts. He does a lot of. They interview him a lot. 30 million people came over the border, brother. 30 million people. You control the votes for the next, and then who are their kids gonna vote for? You imported voters, is what you did. By the way, it's fucking genius.
Yes.
It's genius. They realize it took too long to brainwash kids through the school system, because now you brainwash them, it takes you 18 years before they can vote for you. Why would you wait 18 years when you could just import 30 million of them? So now that 3 to 5 million gap that you had, those 3 to 5 million votes you had to fight for, you don't have to fight for them anymore. You have control for the next 30 to 50 years. By the way, they've done stats on shit like this. I'm not talking out of my ass. Again, smartphones, stupid people. They do the math on things like this. Guys, it's 2024. We go to fucking Mars, okay? We can figure any math out. Okay, we can see bacteria in Mars. We have people that do statistics on shit like this. So this is not like what I'm talking about right now. It's not like some way off shit. People literally dedicate their lives to doing these statistics on how much power a party can have for how many years. This is, by the way, how many elections have we had? We could study Cuba. We could study Venezuela. We have case studies on this. We could case study Germany. We could case study Poland. You know, like, it's just crazy how, like, when I say things like this, I sound dumb to stupid people. And it's like, bro, are you dumb? Just because all you do is fucking barbecue and watch the game and get fucked up on Sunday, go to work hungover on Monday, the rest of us don't live our lives like that. The rest of us actually give a fuck about what's going on. And we pay attention to things like this. And there's other people in the world that don't work 9 to 5 and want to drink a fucking 12-pack after work, watch a motherfucking Sunday football game, and spend their Sunday like that.
Football season is about to start.
But there's other... basketball season, football season, baseball season, soccer season, hockey season.
UFC.
Everything. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people think that people live like them. You know what I mean? Like, people think that they live like, oh, I'm going to work 9 to 5, I drink my 6-pack, ha ha ha, I watch the fucking game. Motherfucker, not everybody lives like that. Other people, we live different. And we actually give a fuck about what's going on in the country. We don't all live like you. Obviously, I don't put beer into this fucking body. I work out every day. I keep my mind sharp every day. I don't drink. I drink once every 3 months, maybe. The longest I've gone without drinking is a year. I don't spend my fucking time like the rest of these fucking idiots. You know?
But people are so brainwashed. So
they're brainwashed because they only give a fuck about their own personal life, so they think the rest of us sound stupid when they don't do any of their personal homework.
So I was sharing the things that are going on right now in London with the stabbings, with the Muslims, the radical Islam, right? Taking over, big time. And my fellow Lithuanians that live in London and in other parts of the UK, they're like, why are you being so racist? You're a racist. Why are you saying so? Sadiq Khan is an amazing mayor. Wait a minute. So once Sadiq Khan took over the London, it turned to shit.
Right.
It's literally stabbing capital of the world. Right. And I had a guy here that I want to say 6 months ago. So he lives now in Dubai, but he moved to Dubai a year ago only. So he lived in London. He said that's the thing. Once I get back to London for a week, I don't recognize my country. So Brits are the minority in London. It's 38% only. How is this possible? Well, the whole Europe is being brainwashed.
Right. Well, because
their kids are being raped and murdered, and then now we have to be more compassionate.
Right.
We have to even welcome even more doctors, engineers. Right. These are amazing people. Yeah. They rape your kids.
Yeah. It's
mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling, and that's the part that America's kind of. But the thing is about America is that you got to remember Britain has been around a hell of a lot longer than America, right? Mm-hmm. Great Britain, America. We're a new concept, bro. We have so many patriots here, and people underestimate that. That the patriots in America are not just white. We have black patriots. We have Mexican patriots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a patriot, bro. I will defend this country against anybody, any enemy, domestic or foreign or domestic. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna defend it, and I'm gonna defend it until my heart gives out. Not to say that Britain doesn't have a lot of people like that. But if I had to ask you, like, I'm not talking about the loony liberals. I'm not talking about the loony liberals, okay? But patriotism, like patriots versus patriots, not loonies versus loonies, because Russia has loonies, Lithuania has loonies. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I'm not comparing those groups. I'm comparing patriots. Our patriots versus Russia's patriots versus Canada's patriots versus, you know what I'm saying? Who I'm comparing? I believe America has the strongest patriots.
Because you have guns.
Because we have fucking guns. And so and
Lots
they
of them.
don't. And not only because they have guns, because we have guns, is because we are the strongest country in the world, because we're not going to let you fuck with us. You know what I mean? Like, you bomb us, bro, we're coming after that ass. There's a reason why we're the most powerful country in the world. Sure, economically, we may not be the strongest. I get people can get technical right now. Give me the list of we're not topping this, we're not. I get that.
No, but the GDP is number one still.
I get that. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I understand. Mexico's education system is better than ours. I get that. Then why the fuck are they not doing better than us then? How come they're not the most... Well, how come nobody's flocking to go to Mexico? Or they're not flocking to go to Russia? How come America is still the number one country everybody wants to come to? So I can get you, give me all your little fucking stats and shit. I get all that. I'm not a fucking idiot. I get it. But everybody wants to come here because we're the badasses. You know what I mean? This is where everybody wants to come. They're coming from China. China's on the other side of the world. How come they don't go to Russia instead? How come they don't go to Germany instead? Why don't you go there? You're closer to them.
Because they don't want to destroy that country.
Because Germans don't want to let you, or the Russians don't want to let you. Right?
Russians won't. But Germany, all the way.
Oh yeah, Germany's overtaken. You're right. I apologize. Germany's overtaken. But what I'm getting at is that, okay, you know that they'll let you go there. How come you don't go there? How come you still come over here? So you can give me all your little fucking stats all you want. We're still the badasses of the world, period. That's just what it comes down to, because our patriots are more badass than other people's patriots. That's simple. That's why we win the wars. That's why we have the power.
Okay, so give me two options. November 5th, November 6th, you get the results of the election, right? Trump wins. What happens? Allegedly.
Allegedly, what I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see riots and shit like that. What typical liberals do. Yeah, we're going to see riots and...
BLM-like?
I'm sorry?
BLM-like?
Oh, of course. Oh, of course. I believe we're going to see that. I truly believe that we're going to see that. Yeah. I truly believe we're going to see that. We're going to see some shit burn to the ground because of it.
If Kamala wins?
Patriots don't burn their own countries. You know what? I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know what's going to happen. You know what's crazy? That the Republicans always get the... Here's the crazy part. I'm reading the comments of this unfortunate situation that happened in Georgia. And the comments were like, some of the comments were like, oh, Trumpers being Trumpers, right? Or MAGAs being MAGAs. You know what's crazy? The last school shootings have all been left-leaning Democrat trans.
Of course.
So it's like, you're blaming us for things that your community's doing? That's wild.
Gaslighting.
It's like, what are you talking about? But this is not the news. These are just regular, everyday people commenting that. Because it was on a comment on a post on Instagram. And it's like, you're that stupid. You do realize the last shootings have been all left-leaning Democrats. And, you know, look at the guy that shot Trump. He was a fucking loony liberal. You know, but put that to the side.
No, he donated $30 to RNC.
To RNC, supposedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But all the other shootings have been trans and stuff like that. It's the left doing it. But yet we get blamed for that. So if Kamala wins, I don't think we're going to see mayhem. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think we're going to see. I think the way that people on the Republican side are going to take it is they're going to get a lot more involved in politics and start going for like city council, governor, mayor. I think we're going to see a harder push of that. We're not going to see burning down of shit. We're not going to see, and people, you know, it's January 6th. Man, fucking stop it. They already caught on camera. What's her name? Nancy Pelosi admitting that she didn't ask for security to come. They've already shown transcripts where Trump asked Pelosi to bring the National Guard and she didn't. They have her recorded confessing it. So miss me with that it was an insurrection. Miss me with there was 30 FBI agents in there that they were already identified.
Don't forget about the pipe bombs.
Yeah, the pipe bombs. So it's just like, come on, bro. Like, just stop it. There's not going to be no fucking insurrection. That was all staged by the FBI, and they've already caught 30 FBI agents. They've already identified them all. There's already indictments on it. There's already, like, just... That's why the January 6th hearing, nothing could come conclusive because they realized it was just full of shit. The same thing like Russia collusion whenever in 2016. Russia collusion, you know, the Russians had helped Trump become president. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit. For instance, 2020 Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah.
50 CIA agents said it's not the real thing, right? It's a hoax.
It's a hoax.
But it was a real thing.
It was a real thing.
No consequences.
No, and they did a study that about 20% of people would have voted differently had they known about the laptop.
20%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That would have swayed the election. So.
Can you excel for the people that have no idea? So unrealized gains tax. What is that? Just because of this one policy that she
Yeah.
suggests, it's no way you're gonna vote for that stuff because
Right.
it's gonna implement to on everybody,
Right.
on every freaking American.
Right.
Explain to
So
people.
unrealized gains, like for example, this is the cup that you gave me right now, right? But let's say it's my cup. I invested. This is my capital. This is my money. I
Yes.
invested to make this cup and to put this very, by the way, very delicious tea that's in this cup. Is it tea?
Yes.
Tea. Very good tea, right? And I decided to make a business out of it or whatever, or invest more. Now, this is all my money, but then I happen to make more money here, but I haven't touched this money. This is just, it's there, but it's on paper. Like, oh, you made an amount, but I haven't unrealized. I mean, I haven't realized. I mean, I haven't withdrawn from it.
It's not in your bank account.
It's not in my bank account. It's not in my hands. It's not in my pocket. I technically don't have it. You're going to tax me on something I've never touched, though I haven't even used it. But the crazy part about it is you're going to tax, but if this goes down, I'm going to pay taxes on something I never had. I'm paying taxes on air. That's the crazy part about it. You know what I mean? It's wild. I understand you charging me taxes on my capital. This was my money that I used and I touched and it was in my pocket in my bank account at one point. But this has never hit my bank account. The question becomes, somebody asked me, well, what if they just never realize it, meaning they never touch it? Well, then there was no point of ever having it. So at one point in time, you're going to want to use this money.
Yes.
Then you could pay taxes
Yes,
on it. Yeah, pay
of
taxes
course.
on it when you use it.
Yes.
So, of course, like, what's the point of investing $1 and making $1 million if you never touched $1 million? Does that make sense? Then you really never made anything. So, like, well, how are they ever going to tax it? Well, at some point, I'm going to want to use it.
Yes.
Right? So then when I withdraw it, then charge me for it. But because this money, well, it can go up, but it can go down to zero too. So now, let's say I had $50,000 gain. You charge me on $50,000. I still don't touch that money, wanting it to go up, and it goes on to zero. Now I pay taxes on money I've never had.
Yes.
How the fuck does that make sense?
I don't know.
That's wild.
Let's say you bought a house for $100,000.
Yeah.
Because of, let's take Florida, 2020. So from 2020 to 2024, the housing market in Florida went up, I want to say 100%,
Right.
50%, right? So you bought a house, for instance, for 100,000. In 2024, in 4 years, it costs 200,000. You have to pay taxes, even if you didn't sell the house.
Right.
How is
That's
it
wild.
It's absurd.
Right. You don't have the money.
You don't have the money, bro.
Yeah, you don't have the money.
You just have the house.
You have the house.
Oh,
but
you have a
don't.
luxury watch,
Right.
right? It's 50 grand, for instance.
Right.
And now it costs 100 grand. You're going to pay the unrealized.
Unrealized taxes on it, yeah. But you know what's the crazy part? You know why it makes sense, why so many people are good with that? It's because they're such fucking haters.
Yes, they
That
just
they don't want to
hate
see
the
you.
guy.
They don't want to have. They don't care to have it. They just don't want you to have it. Envy is not just you. Envy, hatred, jealousy is not just you wanting to possess what that person has.
You want me not to have it.
I want you not to have it. I don't. More, it's actually stronger. Envy and jealousy is stronger. Not because I want it. It's because I don't want you to have it.
Especially if I don't have it.
Yeah, if I don't
either.
have it. If I don't have it, I don't want you to have it. My jealousy doesn't come so much from the fact that you have it and I don't. I just don't want you to have it. You know what I mean? So therefore, people that are okay with this are people that are fucking haters that have never built anything, never invested their money in anything, never done anything big. It's like, oh, pay your fair share. Fair share of what? Fair share of your bills? You want me to pay your shit too? Fair share, like that's the stupidest term. Oh, pay their fair share. Taxation is theft. We had a Boston tea.
Tea Party.
The Boston Tea Party. They revolted against the government for taxes on tea. And now you have people saying, pay your fair share. Isn't it crazy? It only took about 150 years?
Yeah, up to.
150 years ago, Americans were like, we don't want to pay tea on taxes. Nobody does. And now Americans are like, pay your fair share. What? How the fuck did that happen?
You got soft.
You got soft. But worse than soft, you became envious. So we were a country that 120, 130, 140, 150 years ago didn't want 160 years, 70 years ago. I don't want to get technical because I don't know that. I don't remember when the Boston Tea happened. I don't remember. There's not something that
1860.
whatever the case. 150 years ago, 160
Yeah.
years ago, 160 years ago, we were fighting to not get taxed, and now we fight so that you tax our fellow Americans. Isn't it crazy? Now you get mad if they don't pay taxes, as if you're gonna get that money some way, as if my taxes are some way mysteriously gonna show up in your bank account because the government charging me more.
So hear me out. So unrealized gain taxes. You have a house, and I fight inflation with printing money. So inflation goes up. So basically, your house is getting up the price. So I caused the inflation. I caused your house to get more expensive. I caused you to pay unrealized gain taxes.
Yeah, isn't that wild? It's insane. But that's just the world that we live in right now, brother.
Anything but Trump. Like anything, any demon but Trump. Putin, but not Trump.
Yeah, fuck
Mao.
Hitler. I believe we're in a time right now where people would vote for Hitler over Trump because they're that fucking stupid.
No, he's far right. They would vote Stalin.
Probably Mao, yeah.
Lenin.
Yeah.
Trotsky.
Yeah. Well,
but
you gotta remember though, Hitler was a socialist.
Yes. National Socialist Party.
Yeah, and they would vote for him. They're socialists. He would be the party of AOC. If you think about that. She wants to take all your money. She wants you to have not for you to have shit. She wants full control of. She wants the government controlling everything. That was Hitler's ideology.
And she was just a bartender.
And she was just a bartender. But Hitler would actually be a Democrat in today's society. Because that's exactly what they want. Tax you on everything, not for you not to have anything. Socialism, communism, that's everything that Hitler stood for. So he would actually be probably a very strong ally of Bernie Sanders.
By the way, who's the president of the U.S. right now?
Fuck, who knows? I haven't seen him in a while. I have no idea. I know he's in
on the second
Delaware in the beach somewhere.
Working hard, nonstop.
Yeah.
Calls after calls after
Dude,
calls.
after he dropped out, he's been out of the game. Nobody sees him anymore. It's like, bro, you're still the fucking president.
You've got 5 more months.
Right.
You got to do the job. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this shit.
That's wild, bro. By the way, did you see that stat where when he came in, he was worth $9 million. He's worth $40 million now. Kamala was worth $6 million. She's worth $28 million now.
How? Just ask the question. How?
Yeah.
I'm answering those questions every year when I do my taxes.
Right.
How did you make your money? Here are the invoices, the expenses, the revenue, the tax on it, right? On the profit. Ask those people. I like this picture when it's so there is Barack and Michelle, and this is how you do it. You start when you're young and you have nothing, and then they're showing the Barack when he's the president, she's the first lady, and they're worth 100 million. Wait a minute. He became a president and he earned 100 million? How? Because the salary is definitely
it's $250,000 a year.
A year. And he's worth, I want to say 100 million, something like that. Right? Like, how? No questions asked.
Yeah.
But you try to get a Zell with
shit. $600.
Yeah. You're done. Without a lubricant.
With sand. No lubricant.
That's how they like it. Let's get back to Mexico.
Okay.
Does Mexico has the left, the right?
Of course. There's a left and a right. There's conservatives and then there's liberals in every country.
But cartels are on the left and on the right as well?
On the left side. Yeah,
they're on the left only?
Of course. Where's Google?
Left, of course.
Where's Facebook?
Yeah, but they want to... So, hear me out. This is the article I read a few weeks ago. Let me get to this article. U.S. considers a rare antitrust move, breaking up Google. How is it possible?
Monopoly. Yeah, we don't allow companies to monopolize in America.
But they support you. They support the left, and the left wants to break you up. How can you support the left?
Well, because that's all smoke and mirrors, bro. All they're gonna do is make other companies and unite them. It's like AT&T. Remember when they split up AT&T a while back?
No.
You were not in the country.
No.
They split it. AT&T. They split up. Then they went to Singular Wire. I don't remember the name. Then people are gonna get all stupid in the comments. I don't remember the fucking names. I just remember at one point AT&T got split up. So AT&T went to like singular, and then it split up in multiple different companies, and then it became one strong one again. It's just smoking mirrors, bro.
We're doing something, right?
Yeah,
we're fighting against monopoly.
Fighting against monopoly. No, you're fucking not, bro. The money's it's gonna come to your lobby. It's just gonna come from different accounts now. All you did was you split up that one big account into multiple smaller accounts and make it seem to you and me that they're actually doing something against monopoly, but they're really not. The money's still gonna come out of those accounts to go into their lobbies.
I struggle with one question. So Mexico is like this for decades now, right? Mm-hmm. For how long? 50 years?
50, 60, 50 years probably. Yeah.
Will it ever going to change?
If the cartels would stop operating today, the Mexican economy would collapse.
Because they bring all the money from the U.S.
They bring all
because
the money,
you're the customer.
Brother, 66% of drugs, the money that comes into Mexico,
is from the U.S.
No, it's from other parts of the world now.
You gotta think, global.
It's global. They have euros coming in. They have money from. They have euros. They have European money. I don't know the names of all the money. I'm not gonna pretend like I know. I don't study that shit. They have currency from all over the world, and everything's digital now. So believe it or not, sure, America is a big consumer of the product. America's not bigger than Africa. America's not bigger than Europe. Okay? America's not bigger than South America.
But it's not because the U.S. consumption been lowered. That's because the cartel got bigger and bigger and bigger.
66% of the drugs that are made in Mexico right now are not all coming to America. They're actually going to Middle Eastern and European countries. So to think that the economy in America and Mexico is being sustained only by the American consumer is actually factually incorrect. It only makes up 44% of the economy in Mexico. But matter of fact, I'll send you the article through text. 2-3 years ago, they caught like 4 or 5 of Chapo's cousins in Spain that were operating for the Sinaloa cartel in Spain. And they caught them. And they've caught them in Ecuador. They've caught them in Spain. They've caught them in Germany. They've caught them all over the world. There's operatives all over the world right now that are working for these cartels that are the distributors of those countries they're representatives of the cartels in those countries. So, sure, America is a huge consumer and it always will be. But the reality is there's more money to be made sending that shit overseas. Having your drugs go from Tijuana, Baja California to San Diego, California is nowhere near as expensive as going from Mexico, one of the ports, to
Spain.
A kilo, I'm just giving an example, I don't know these numbers. A kilo could cost you, let's just say cocaine can cost you $6,000 in Mexico. It's going to cost you $50,000 in Europe. They actually prefer to sell out of the continent because they get a hell of a lot more money for it. So what they've done is they've bought shell companies, they've bought transport companies, they've bought cargo ships, they've bought brick companies. And so what they do with the brick companies is that they make the bricks thicker. They put the cocaine inside or whatever drug they're using, and they're shipping it. So the cartels own legitimate companies to transport their drugs through the ocean. They've got very savvy about things like this. So, yeah.
The materials goes from Afghanistan to China, from China to Mexico, from Mexico all around the world.
You got to remember though, it's Afghanistan only has one part of it takes multiple things, right, to make the drug.
Yeah.
So all the materials are in different countries.
But they're not in Mexico.
Well, a lot of them are not. So they come to Mexico to get made. So like you get something from the Philippines, from Afghanistan, from China. Those are 3 different countries. They would have to create their own cartels to import their stuff, but they're not going to do that. They bring it all to Mexico or to Panama or to Colombia. They make it there and then they ship it out from that point out. Like, American cars in South America, they're made in Mexico and in America. How come they don't make them over there? Well, because we have all the parts here. They're American made. So that's the way we do things in America when it comes down to vehicles. I bought a brand new GMC truck today. Everything's made in America. Tells me where every part was made. It's kind of the same concept, except those drugs are being made by materials from different countries. So Mexico is a hub. Mexico is a modern day Colombia.
So it's never gonna end.
No, I don't believe it to be. The Mexican economy would collapse without drug money.
Yeah, but 200 years ago, 150 years ago, there was this company, East Indian Company, that brought from Britain the drugs to China, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. The company was huge. It almost had their own army, but they collapsed. Yeah. Maybe that's the thing that's going to happen to cartels.
I mean, cartels have now stopped operating in Colombia, right? They still operate. Sure, Pablo's not there anymore, but they still operate. So I have a cousin that's in Colombia right now, and I've never, you guys follow me, I've never hidden the fact of what some of my family has been involved in. It's no secret, I have cousins in Colombia right now that are, representing Mexico over there. So it is what it is. That's never going to stop, and by the way, the government doesn't want it to stop. The American government doesn't want it to stop. How do you think they fund all the Central American wars? They can't use tax dollars. So the CIA, by the way, in Mexico, the training camps that they have for the cartels, CIA agents have gone over there to train them. See, when you live in Mexico, you see all this shit and you know it.
Trained to do what?
To weapons. Taught them how to, like Fast and the Furious was only a way to, remember when Obama did Fast and the Furious? Where he put a bunch of AKs and then put trackers inside of them. He put GPSs inside. It's called Fast and the Furious. You can look it up, Fast and the Furious Obama. He got a bunch of AKs, put trackers inside of them, or like low jacks or whatever, so they can see where the guns were going. Well, mysteriously, all the chips got off of the guns and they shipped them all into Mexico. Those guns made it to Central America to overthrow some of the governments down there in South America. That's what happens. Mexico is a needed evil because whatever work America can't do in Central and South America, all they say is, we're going to let you operate, but be quiet, and we need some of this money to go down south. So they're using dark money, if that makes sense. And this is a part that's mind-boggling for people. They can't fathom the idea of what I'm saying. By the way, there's been CIA whistleblowers that have came out and said this. I lived in Mexico. I have family there. I know how they operate. I know what they do. I know how everything is being ran. Not because I'm involved in it. It's just I'm from Mexico, and I'm from one of the parts that has the most cartel activity in all of Mexico. By the way, you could ask a kid that grew up in a town that has no family members in it. He's going to tell you how it works. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just me. People that live there know this stuff. They see the white boys walking around. They see the trucks. They see the sicarios are watching these white boys training them. It's not a secret for people that are close to it in Mexico. A kid that grew up in poverty that's could be my neighbor, can see the same shit that I can see, though he may not be involved. I don't know if I'm making sense. You don't have to be involved to see what's happening.
Too obvious.
So fucking obvious. So that's the way they've operated. You got to send this money down to south. We need it in Venezuela. We need it in Honduras. We need it in El Salvador. We need it in... So we're going to let you operate, but you will send that money down there.
Do you have any explanation why did they switch to fentanyl?
I don't know. I don't know. It's so potent though, but I don't know why I wouldn't know. That's more Sinaloa's doing that more. I'm not from Sinaloa, so I don't know why. They're the ones that are really...
Do you have a lot of drug addicts in Mexico?
You're actually, ironically, you're not allowed to use fentanyl and meth in Mexico. You're not allowed to. You'll be killed. First of all, they won't let you sell it, so you can't even get it, if that makes sense.
So the cartel does not sell...
You'll die. You will be killed. So they make it in Mexico, but that's distributed to America. Okay. Cocaine gets spread out by something called narcomenudeo. Okay, meaning that we're cartels and we ship 2-3 tons to America, right? And then I'm talking in a figure speech. I'm not simulation. I'm not talking about me doing this, but then they'll have 30, 40, 50 keys that stay in town, and then you're a smaller distributor. So then you're the one in charge. Like, I'll open up a brick of cocaine, And then, you take an ounce, 2 ounces, 3 ounces, and you sell on the streets, and then you come and pay me for them. And so you're selling my drugs.
Yes.
You make your cut,
Yes.
but you're selling my drugs. So that's why they can control what gets sold in Mexico. So they will not let you sell meth because you won't even have access to the meth. Does that make sense?
Because you produce it.
Because we're the producer, so we control. Again, figure of speech. Figure of speech. I'm not talking about literal. If I'm the cartel, I control what gets sold, what gets released to the public, and what doesn't. Kind of like TikTok. You know how TikTok is China made, even though they want to deny it, but yet people in China can't use it for what we use it for? Does that make sense? It's the same concept.
The content is different?
Oh, of course. They can't do the content in China is different for their TikTok than what we use it for. They're not allowed to search certain things or do certain things on their TikTok. So because in Mexico, figure of speech again, if I'm the cartel, I determine what gets distributed in my country or who doesn't because I'm the one packaging it. Does that make sense? So there's a consensus, general consensus amongst all the cartels that you're not going to poison your own people. So the most they'll let you do is cocaine.
But that's like the story from The Godfather, right? I'm not going to sell the drugs. Then the war happens.
Yeah. No, because with The Godfather, they were not allowed to sell drugs. Yeah. Over here, you're allowed to sell cocaine because the cartels are the ones that are selling it.
But you're not allowed to sell.
You're not allowed
fentanyl.
to sell meth and fentanyl, which the distributors could not get a hold of anyway, because the one that gives it to them is the cartels. So the cartels don't give it to you, you're not getting a hold of that drug. I don't know if that makes sense. So therefore, there's no way for you to access that drug because the makers of it are there with you. So if they don't give you access to it, you can't go somewhere else and get it. Make sense? So therefore, fentanyl is being shipped to America, and so is meth. But you get caught doing, if for whatever reason, in which it doesn't happen because you can't even get a hold of it. But if they catch you with meth or fentanyl for personal use or for your selling, you're done, bro. You're dead. You're as good as dead. You're not gonna make it out of there.
Because you know it's so good.
Well, because you know it's gonna fuck your people up. You don't want to fuck up your own people.
You want to fuck up Americans.
You want to fuck up other
teenagers.
People. Yeah, you want to fuck up other people. I mean, it's not that you want to. You just don't care. It's not your country. Going back to, if cartels won't even sell their drugs to their own people, why would you vote in an election of a country you don't live in? You're not being affected by the results of it.
So the last time we spoke, we talked about God. You remember?
I do.
And we failed big time in one thing. So both of us told that we and Christians and Muslims don't agree only on one thing, on the second God, the Jesus.
No, I rewatched everything. Okay. I rewatched our podcast and I started reading the comments. Okay. Here's what I missed to tell you. The majority of Christians believe Jesus is God. The majority. I, along with also millions of other Christians, I'm not the only one, don't believe that. That's where me and a Muslim can have a conversation and agree that Jesus is not God. That's the part that I missed.
But what's your denomination then? You can be just Christian and...
You can be Christian without believing that Christ is God.
No, you can't.
No, absolutely you can. It's the belief in Christianity. So I believe that Christ was the Son of God that came down to the earth and fulfilled his purpose. That's the belief in Christ, in Christianity. But I do not believe that Jesus is God. And I can give you 50 different verses in the Bible, and you can give me 50 where you believe he is. But I can give you 50 where he says he's not, and then we're going to have to duke that one out. So, okay. So when I ask a person that believes that Jesus is God, it's God in the flesh.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So when he goes back to heaven, he's only God. Because if Jesus is God in the flesh, then he goes back to his natural power in heaven and he doesn't need the flesh anymore. Correct?
Unpack that.
Okay.
So Jesus is God who became a human.
Human.
Yes.
So then...
his human body died.
And he goes back to his natural power.
Yes.
Right?
It's a triune God. The Holy Spirit, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus.
But he goes back to heaven. If he was God only in the flesh,
He sits right on the right hand by.
he's God though.
He is. He's one God,
so then
three
why,
persons.
So then why, when the apostles got down and started trying to worship him, he says, you only worship my Father, you do not worship me.
Because he was in the flesh. He was a human, part God, at that moment.
So then why does the Bible say, if he is God, then not even the Son knows a time and day that Armageddon is going to come?
Because he was a human at that point.
Okay, so he was about to. So the Bible, I understand that. So the Bible, but if he's God, how come he doesn't know that?
Because he's human.
Okay.
At that point.
At that point, so he's
mortal.
He's not
he died.
God. He's not God in the earth.
No, at that point,
he's
no.
only a man.
He's a Messiah, yes.
Okay.
But he is the God right there.
Okay, so then why is he sitting to the right of the Father?
Because the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Jesus Christ, the Son of God, it's all one thing.
Says who?
The Bible.
Where in the Bible does it say that they're all one? Where in the Bible does the Bible talk about that they're all one? Keep in mind, I've read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I need you to specifically tell me where the Bible says they're all one.
So there are only two options where you definitely not going to heaven, right? First, if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Number two, if you have the mark of the beast.
Okay.
So it says that you can't blaspheme the Holy Spirit. So it means something. On the other hand,
hold on. Who says we're going to go to heaven?
Bible says if you come to God through Jesus Christ.
Right.
There is no other way to God
Right.
to Father God if not through Jesus. So you believe that Jesus is going to judge after when we die, right? He's the ultimate judge, right?
Right.
But in the Bible it says that only God can judge. So if you believe that Jesus...
That was in the Old Testament.
So? The Old Testament and the New Testament, that's the Bible.
No, yeah, but the Old Testament was before Jesus came to set the new rules.
Correct. But the whole Old Testament is about the Messiah that is about to come.
Right. So when the
that's
Messiah
the difference
came...
with the Jews. They don't believe in Jesus.
So when the Messiah came,
yes,
Jesus came, then he put a new set of rules. So
he said he's about to
so the
add,
Bible, the Old Testament are not just their principles, are not laws anymore. Because remember,
that's a good question.
Okay, here we go then. What did Jesus say about fornication? What about multiple wives? How come King Solomon had multiple wives? King David had multiple wives. When the Messiah came, things changed. Because if that's the case, and the Bible contradicts itself. Because if the man says
there's a new covenant, correct?
There's a new covenant.
Yes,
that's
correct.
What I'm saying. So that's the new covenant. So the new covenant comes with a new set of rules. Because if you say, well, it's all the Bible and you have to take it all as one, the New Testament and the Old Testament, they contradict each other.
The Old Testament is more like a history and the set of rules, but they're being adjusted when the Messiah came. Now hear me out. Okay. For instance, you're a Jew, right? You're Jewish.
Right. And I'm not Jewish, but yeah. No, I understand.
And you only believe in the Old Testament, right?
Right.
Then you read Deuteronomy. Yeah. What did it say about the ones who commit adultery?
Yeah, of course.
Stone them to death.
Stone them to death.
What about the gays? Stone them to death.
Right.
It doesn't mean Jews do that. That's like you're saying the King Solomon or King David.
King David, 1,000 wives, concubines, and yeah.
We're all sinners.
Yeah.
They committed sins. That's it. That's the only.
I agree with you, but where we have a disagreement is the fact that Jesus multiple times made it clear that he had a father.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the Bible, when the skies opened up, he says, I saw Jesus sitting to the right.
Yes. That's
the Son of God. That's not God. So if God, it says, by the way, the Bible in Psalms 83:18 says, for the world to know your name is Yahweh.
Yes.
Not Jesus. So Yahweh is one. It doesn't say so the world may know that your name is Jesus, Yahweh, and the Holy Spirit. It says one name, and that's it. There is no, I'm not my father. I represent him, and when funerals happen, weddings happen, I'm sitting to his right because I'm his eldest son that's active in his life. My other brother is not. I represent him. I understand that part of it, but the Bible never says that they're all one. Not once does it say that. Yeah. Now, we can interpret it. Now, I know in all the comments, because people are going to watch this, and it always happens to me because I've read the Bible so many times. Oh, but you couldn't, now I could get why you could interpret that the same way that I can interpret it. I interpret that Jesus is Son of God, that he is not God. And because I have Bible text to prove it, you can't say that I'm wrong. But I can also say that you're not wrong. It's just your interpretation. Because you can find Bible texts where he says, if you want to see the Father, you have seen him. Right? You can find those texts.
Yes.
I can show you the same. Okay, here we go to there right now with that. You said, but he's God and he's not God as a man. But then when they asked him, I want to see the Father, he says, you're looking at him. So he's calling himself God at that moment if he's not. So I can do the same thing back. Does that make sense?
The whole Trinity is super complicated.
No, but it's not though. That's the thing about it. It's complicated, but I can tell you the same thing. And that's where me and Muslims actually agree on. I don't believe that Jesus is God. So that's why, so in our last podcast, that's where I said, oh, Muslims and Christians. What I forgot to leave out, which was very, very, very important, was that 95% of Christians believe that Jesus is God. Us other 5% don't believe that. So therefore, I am more in accordance to the belief that Jesus is not God. And that's where I could get along with Muslims on that part. Like, hey, he's not God. Jesus is not God. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep. Now I don't agree with their beliefs. A lot of their beliefs, I don't believe in a lot of things they have going on. I also don't believe that Muhammad was a prophet either, though. I don't believe it.
Because our book says that there's going to be a lot of false prophets.
And I don't believe Muhammad was a prophet. So that's where we only agree with. I only happen to agree with Muslims in one thing: Jesus was not God. I agree with you. After that, we don't agree.
So in Genesis, it says God created a man
in the earth,
and he created a man in
our image.
What does it mean, our?
So who is he talking to?
I have the answer. Tell me, what's your opinion?
Well,
who's our? Who's us?
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So with more reason, how do you say that Jesus is God if he's talking to somebody else in a third party?
In our means the Holy Spirit, God the Father, and Son of God.
No, he's talking to somebody. Christ. So he's talking to himself? If they're all one, he's talking to himself?
In our image.
Okay, so if you right now, your son, right? I met your son when he was 4 years old, or four and a half.
5.5.
He's 5.5 now.
Yeah.
When I met him, he was 4.5. Yeah. It's been about a year, maybe a little bit less. Mm-hmm. So if you tell your son, let's go work our land, he's his own individual. What do you mean our land? I can use the word our when I'm talking about my family as well. That's what I'm talking about. Interpretation differs. So if I tell my son, let's go work our land, let's go build our house, we're obviously not one person, but it's ours. So that's
the family, correct? Right, family is one unit. Once you have marriage, you become one flesh.
I agree with you. With different individuals, though. Different individuals.
Yes, 3 different persons.
Right.
God the Father, God the Son.
with 3 different individuals in it. They're 3 different entities.
No, one entity, three personas. 3 different personas.
No problem. It's still 3 different things. They're not the same. So that's the part that I'm talking about. Like I'm talking about. So when he says, for example, when he starts to rise to the sky, remember? And he asks him, where are you going? He says, I'm going back to my Father. He's not said I'm going back to myself.
Because he was always there.
Of course. I'm going back to my Father.
Okay, so how do you process the Holy Spirit? What is it?
Well, the Holy Spirit is God's active power. His active power. It's his active power. That's what I interpret the Holy Spirit.
So when I had a pastor here 8 months ago, I asked him, how can you describe me the Holy Trinity? He told me this. So water, right? Ice is 1, vapor number 2, and liquid is number 3.
Yeah.
But it's all the same thing. It's just water, just in different.
That sounds easy.
The other one said, so the sun.
That's his interpretation, though.
The sun is God the Father. The light is the Holy Spirit. The light is Jesus Christ, and the heat that you feel from the sun is the Holy Spirit.
Okay, so explain to me this then. Okay, I'm with you. So I'm gonna need you to explain this one to me then, right? Because I got quite a few. Because I knew it was a subject that we were gonna touch on, and I find it to be a very important subject, okay? 1 Peter 3:22, who has gone into heaven and is at the right hand of God with angels, authorities, and powers have been subjected to him. Okay? Exodus 33:20, but you cannot see my face, for no one can see me and live.
Because that was talking God the Father.
Okay.
Jesus Christ has been born yet.
Okay, John 6:46, no one has seen the Father except the one who is from God.
Yes.
Only he has seen the Father.
Yes. So we agree that he's the Son of God, but at the same time, he is the God himself. I know it's very complicated.
Mark 10:18, why do you call me good? Jesus answered,
Yes.
No one is good except God alone. Revelation 22:9, no, don't worship me. I am a servant of God, just like you and your brothers, the prophets, as well as all who obey what is written in this book. Worship only God. These are all New Testament. John 16:25-28. Though I have been speaking figuratively, a time is coming where I will no longer use this kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. In the day that you will ask in my name, I am not saying that I will ask the Father on your behalf. No, the Father himself loves you because you loved me, and he believed that I came from God. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father. So this is the Bible. How can you be God, then say, don't worship me, worship God, and then say, I'm going back to the Father?
So Jews called the God Elohim, right?
Elohim.
Elohim means God, but in Hebrew, right?
Yes.
But you know that this word is plural. It's not singular.
Okay.
Just like seraphim, the angel, right? It means they're plural. So who are those entities if they're not singular?
Jesus was very clear about where he stood with God, though. I don't care about language of Jews. I care about what Jesus said. And in John 16:25-28, he made it very clear. He said it at the beginning of the text. He said it. He says, though I have been speaking figuratively, meaning don't take that literal.
Yes.
A time is coming where I will no longer use this kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. Why does he keep talking about a Father if he is God? And then the Bible also says, no one has seen the Father except who one is from God. Only he has seen the Father. How can you see yourself? No one has seen the Father except the one who is from God. Only he has seen the Father. I think that's a very clear definition that there's a line between the Father and the Son. So I understand as an entity, for example, you're here with your beautiful wife, with your beautiful child, right? You guys are one as a family unit, but your own individual people. I'm not going to ask your son if I could walk into your house, even though he's part of this unit. I'm going to ask you because you are the head of the household, not your son. Even though he's a part of this household, he's not the head of it. You're the father.
Let's say next year you have a son, right?
Yeah.
So you, Ricardo, Erica, and your son, you're the Aguilars. You're the Aguilars.
Right.
That's one entity.
Right.
But three different persons.
Agreed. So Jesus is not God. He's a son of God.
When he becomes, for instance, 10 years old.
What's your son's name?
Ricardo.
Richard. Richard. Your son name is Richard.
Yes.
That's your son.
Yes.
He's not you.
No, it's not.
That's it. Jesus is not God. He's a son of God. In heaven, along with the Holy Spirit, he's an entity of one because they're a family unit. But he's not God because he's made that clear. It's just crazy to me that Jesus says it himself. How are we going to combat that?
Okay. How can you process then turn the other cheek? Because if you turn the other cheek every other time, that's it. The world ends in a few days.
Yeah,
because the bad guys
will come. Because turn the other cheek because he says now that you have to leave judgment to God.
But he says, turn the other cheek.
understand. No,
if I hit you,
no, I
don't
agree.
fight back.
I agree.
Turn the other cheek.
And that one is hard for me to comprehend. However, he says, let God be the judge of that. Right? Didn't the Jews have to turn the other cheek, and the Jehovah's Witnesses, whenever they were being persecuted by the Germans they turned the other cheek? They didn't fight back because that's what God told them to do.
The Bible is such a fascinating book. So every time you read it, you understand something new. And a lot of even what Jesus said, it's in parables. It's not literal.
That's where I have trouble, man. People want to make this more complex than it is. And that's the part that, 1 Corinthians 8:5-6. Is that New Testament or Old Testament? New Testament.
Paul's letter.
For even if there's so-called gods, whether in heaven nor on earth, as indeed there are many gods and many lords, yet for us there is but one God, the Father. There is but one God, the Father. Not the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Father. From whom all things have come from, whom we live, and there is one Lord.
One Lord.
Jesus Christ. Though whom all things came through, whom we live.
Yes.
There's a clear distinction and a clear drawn line between the separation of those two entities.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that Jesus is the Son of God, but not the God himself, right?
That's what the Bible says. That's what Jesus said.
You have nothing in common with Muslims. They say he's not even the Son of God. He's just a prophet.
No. Okay. Here's what I was trying to get at with that. What I was trying to get you to, I understand what you're saying. We went too far. My only agreement with Muslims is that Jesus is not God. Now, that we don't agree with the rest of it, that's what I said. That's our only agreement. From that point on, we don't agree anymore. Okay? My only agreement with Muslims and with Jewish is that the only God is Yahweh. That's the only God. Allah. There's no other God. And there has never been another God. And it would be insane to me for Muslims to claim that Muhammad was a God. That's why it's insane to them for us to claim Jesus as a God. Especially when they can read and write just like we can, and they can read where Jesus said, I am not the Father. So you have to understand, I have a lot of Muslim friends. I do not agree with their ideologies. Okay? Not with all of them. I agree with some of the way they do things, not everything. But if I'm sitting here as a Muslim, and even as a Jew, and I read your New Testament, I'm going to show these to you, and I'm going to tell you, Paulo, you're saying Jesus is God, but he's saying he's not.
But he said a lot of things not in literal way, in parables.
Okay.
Figuratively, just like you said.
So, but he says that. But he says, so that's the part that where here's the part. John 16:25. Though I have been speaking figuratively.
Yes.
He says it.
Okay, so how do you process? It's easier for the camel to go through the needle.
It's figuratively speaking. Yeah. Well,
but how do you process it? So you have to give up all your money to go to heaven?
Well, that's the thing that Apollo that's the thing, bro, where interpretations matter. Mm-hmm. So when somebody tells me I believe that Jesus is God, I don't get mad at them. I'm not going to get mad at them. First of all, it's their belief. Okay, bro, I can understand to a certain extent how when you read scriptures, when he says, I want to see the Father. Well, you're seeing him. And you're right, me, and he did miracles. I can understand that. I hope that you can understand that I can understand why you think that Jesus is God. But I hope that from a logical standpoint, you can also understand why I believe he's not. Because he said it. So but he also said, if you want to see the Father, you're looking at him, you're seeing him. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. So we can both do this all day long. The question is, who's right and who's wrong? We don't know.
Ricardo, don't forget that the biggest denomination of Christianity is Catholicism. There's nowhere in the Bible it says that you have to have the Pope, who's the first one.
Brother, if I go down that route, this is going to be a long podcast. I've never met another religion that goes against God more than Catholicism.
It's hot.
It is what it is. Do not call anybody father over the earth.
Yes.
Do not make idols of anything.
The saints.
The only way through God is through me. I can do this all day. I can do this all day. I just, that's not a can of worms I want to open up, because we're really going to blow up the internet when it comes onto that on this subject. I've never met another religion that does the complete opposite of what they say. I've never met another one. And by the way, respectfully to all your viewers, and including my family, because I have a heavy...
They're Catholics?
Heavily. That's why I'm not a denomination. When I was locked up, when I was doing time 16 years ago, when I was 20 years old, I had nothing but time. We were on lockdown. We had a riot with the blacks. When I came in, within a week, we were having a riot with the blacks. We were on a 3-month lockdown. Okay, 23 hours a day when I were to come out and shower. Okay, you have to keep your mind busy. Yes. I read the Bible 4 times from beginning to end. So people, are you this? Are you that? No, bro. I'm a person that reads the Bible and you're not. That's why you get emotional, because you're not you. Not you, because you haven't read the Bible. You only know what your mommy and your daddy told you.
That's Catholics.
That's Christians too, though. That's Christians too, though. Because to me, it's insane for another Christian to believe that Jesus is God.
For me, it's insane to say you're a Christian or you're a Catholic and don't read the Bible at all.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So that's
just
what
to
I'm saying.
celebrate Christmas.
So I've read the Bible. So when I'm like, do not call anybody father over the earth. Interesting. Okay. Do not make images of anything flying in the sky, anything on the earth, or anything under the ground, or anything in the ocean. Interesting. This Hail Marys and pray to this saint. The only way through the Father is through me. Interesting.
And they're introducing new and new saints
every day.
Yeah.
Of humans every day. There's this kid that in Italy that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's why that's why me and religion don't get along very well. Religion do not get along very well.
Not faith.
Faith.
That was my problem. I always associated the religion with God. I thought that's the same thing.
I don't believe in any denomination. Right. I was having this debate the other day with my mom. Right. She doesn't believe in birthdays. Right.
In birthdays,
like having birthdays.
She's Jehovah.
She's Jehovah's Witness. Yeah. I come from a family of Catholics and a handful of Jehovah's Witnesses. Not a whole lot, just a handful. The majority, 99% of my family, 99% of my family are Catholic. And a few like apostolic, but very, very few. I come from a strong Catholic family. It's very simple. Mom, show me where in the Bible where it says that you can't have birthdays. Well, John the Baptist was killed. I need to know. I need you to show me in the Bible. I don't need your ideology or what conclusion you came up with. Because something happened. A lot of shit happens.
Or where it says that a priest cannot have children.
Where? I need to see it.
Nowhere.
And I don't need your answer to be, the Bible's complicated. I don't need that to be your answer. I truly believe that I worship a God that didn't need me to go to school to learn how to read the Bible. Right? I believe that I serve a merciful God, that he knew my human brain could not fully captivate. Complexities beyond my understanding. So I in my heart believe that a high school dropout, ex-felon, he made the Bible so where I could understand it. So if your answer or you resort to telling me that the Bible's complicated, therefore you understand that and I don't, is the most offensive thing that you could do to me. Because you're telling me that my God didn't think about me, he only thought about your smart ass. But he didn't think about me, the dumb one. And I have a hard time believing that my God did not think about me, that did not graduate high school, dropped out my junior year to understand the Bible. I don't believe that.
But you said a great thing. Your God is merciful.
Yes.
So if you started reading Bible, don't stop. Because if you're going to stop at Deuteronomy or Numbers,
you're done.
You're like, what? This is the merciful God?
Right.
He's almost a killer. He wants me to stone adulterers, gays, lesbians, the children that do not obey their parents. Like, what? What is that?
Right.
So it's so crazy to me when Jewish people say, I don't believe in the New Testament. Bro, the Old Testament
is violent then.
It's violent. And even, we're not even touching the Talmud. That book, bro, it's crazy. All the other Gentiles except the Jews in the Talmud are like dogs, pigs.
Right.
Rats, basically. You can rape him, you can kill him, you can have sex with children, I want to say up to 3 years old. That's demonic.
Right.
That's why read the Bible in whole up to the Revelations. And the Revelations is a magnificent book. It's an amazing book.
Right.
I have no idea why it's not being a motion picture yet. It's an amazing book just to make a movie on.
Right. No, I agree with you. But I just the part that we have a disagreements with, and I can understand. But I had a conversation with my Muslim friend. He says he always refers to the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet Muhammad said. The Prophet Muhammad said. The Prophet Muhammad said. And I'm like, I don't care what your Prophet Muhammad said any more than you care about what my Jesus said. I care about what God says. I don't care about what your prophet says. Your prophet was just a man
500 years later
that came up with his own ideologies. You were not there to see what his way of life was. So I could just write a book now, you're going to worship me now? You know what I mean? Like that part doesn't make any sense to me. Hence why I don't worship Jesus.
Do you know what was the youngest wife of Muhammad?
9 years old.
6?
Oh, 6 years old.
How do you call a person when he marries a 6-year-old? But God told him to. My God doesn't tell me to marry a 6-year-old, 9-year-old, 12-year-old. The times were different. Bro, no. If the times were different, for instance, I'm 18 and 500 years ago, she was 15.
Right.
3 years difference, right? Gap of 3 years. Okay, but he was in his prime, 40-something, I want to say, or even 50, and she was 6 years old? No, that's not the God I'm going to worship.
But don't
I'm
say
sorry.
that we didn't understand their calendars, and don't resort to that kind of crap, So, but, and by the way, like I said, that's why I don't agree with the rest of it. I agree with some of the things in the Quran, because I've also read the Quran on the way of life, respect, love, treat. Like, I get all that stuff. There's a lot of other things that the Prophet, to me, dude, I'll never talk to you about what Jesus said. I'm always going to talk about what God said. And my question to them is your entire book built only on what Muhammad said?
Mm-hmm.
I can't correlate there. You know what I mean? Just the same reason why I can't correlate with Mormons. Like the book of John Smith. Like I can't correlate with you, but I also can't correlate with people that tell me that Jesus is God. I can't correlate with them. I can't connect spiritually, not spiritually, but I can't connect those ideologies together. But
we read the same book.
We do.
But the Book of Mormon is this other book. The Quran is another book.
With more reason, because we read the same book, there's more of a disconnect with people that think that Jesus is God.
No, we have lots of comments.
No,
we just have this nice discussion, conversation. That's it.
No, I agree with you. I just don't. It's harder for me to connect because how are you not reading what I'm reading? It seems like you're. I'm not saying you. I'm saying it seems like it's being cherry picked. So what happens to all the verses I just read? They're just irrelevant now. Like I can't. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever ate Skittles?
Yes.
How many colors are in Skittles? I don't know the exact number, but is there one or is there multiple?
Multiple.
It seems like they just want to leave the purple ones out and eat the ones they like. I'm going to eat the purple ones too.
That's the same. Hear me out. So that's the same, the exact same thing as people saying that 9/11 is not an inside job, right? But
we have the data to show it.
But
we have the information.
They can't tell why Building 7 collapsed. Yeah. You can't say this was an inside job at the same time saying that Building 7 collapsed on his own. Why? That's the same thing. You can't say, I'm a Christian. I don't agree with two things in the Bible only.
Yeah.
You have to accept it fully.
Well, I understand that, but also, okay? But also, Jesus said himself he's not God.
Tell me about your wife.
Yeah.
So I read this article. The article says about your wife. They have a major company called TCO Financial, the chosen ones, that has made many people six figures. Yes, six figures. Last year they bought their assistant a new car, donated over 50 laptops to kids who could not afford a laptop when the pandemic started. Yeah. They have been helping the community in many ways. Erica comes from very humble beginnings, packing eggs in her hometown. She grew up in a small town called Wasco. California. How did you meet?
Very, very interesting way that we met. So, me and my brother did not have like the tightest relationship, right? We've I'll die for him and he'll die for me, no doubt about it. Like there's no doubt about that. But we've never been like really close, right? Even since we were kids. I mean, we were the only two brothers. We have an older one, but we don't talk to him. Well, at least I talk to him. I think my brother does. But we don't like a lot of the same things: music, friends. You know, I'm very different. He's very different. None of us are wrong. We're just different. He just likes different things than I do. I like to do different activities that he does. You know, that he likes to do different activities. We're just always been very different. So I'm at home one day on a Sunday night. Typically to this day, even Sunday nights, even before I would not go out. Like I don't, you know, even years ago. I think I was 25. I'm 36 now. I was 25 at the time. 26 at the time. And he calls me randomly. And he says, "Hey, what are you doing on a Sunday night?" And it's already late, you know. It's like 8 o'clock at night. I said, "I'm at home, bro. I'm chilling. What's up?" And he says, "Hey, come to Buffalo Wild Wings." You know, and I'm like, it was just very random because we didn't even hang out with each other, you know? Nothing against each other, we just didn't hang out, different crowds. And I said, man, it was Sunday night, I'm just chilling, I got a long week ahead of me. He's like, come on, come with me. And the only reason that I went was because we never really hung out, you know? And so if he's calling me, it's like, all right, you know, there's a reason for it, if that makes sense. Like, I'll hang out with them, you know, just because, and this never happens. This is like a blue moon, you know?
The sign from the God.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, let's roll. We show up to Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm waiting for him. He's not there yet. And these two girls walk in, right? Tall girl, long black hair. And then a blonde walks in behind her. And I'm like, man, she's beautiful, you know? I didn't think anything of it. I didn't talk to her. These two beautiful girls walked in, right? And so then my brother shows up and we go sit down, and he happened to have invited the dark-haired one, which is my wife's best friend to this day. So she had invited her best friend, which was Erica. My brother had invited me. It was not a setup. It was a group of friends. And when I saw her, I'm like, you know, and I'm in Bakersfield, I'm very well known, and I know everybody, and I didn't know her. And by the way, Bakersfield is not a small town. We got you know, 700,000 people there. It's not small. So when I say I know everybody, you know, at least in my scene, in my, you know, age group, in the it crowds, I know everybody. So then I'm like, man, I've never seen this girl before, and that was important to me because I wanted a woman that had not been around, you know. And so I said, all right, cool. So I get her number, you know, we talk a little bit, and I start doing my homework on her. So I'm like, hey, you guys know her? And I'm hitting up all my boys that like know everybody as well. Like, nah, bro, I've never seen her before. I don't know who she is, you know. And I'm like, all right, that's it. So and I said, hey, like, you know, she knows to this day, she's gonna watch this too, but I said, like, dude, nobody knows you. You know, she's like, well, I was in a relationship for 5 years. Previously, I never really went out. So she had just got out of a relationship. I'm like, oh, perfect. I said, that makes sense. And because I wanted a girl that was not out and about. I've met some of the most beautiful girls that you could ever imagine being out. And I was young. I'm not old now, but I was young. I was 26. I was in shape.
Young and beautiful.
Yeah, I was young. I had money. I drove a Hummer. I traveled already the world. Not everywhere in the world, but I've been like to, you know, Puerto Rico, Cancun. I could afford to do whatever I want. So it's like I didn't have a hard time, you know, pulling attractive women, like any you know, with all the respect, but at that time, you know, if any girl that I wanted to be with, if I liked her, there was going to be a 90% chance that I was going to be able to, you know, have her as a girlfriend or friend, whatever intention that was. It was not going to be difficult for me to succeed in attracting a certain female. So it was important for me, for her, from whoever my wife was going to be, not to be part of that circle of people. So when I did my homework, like, nobody knows her, bro. And I said, all right. And I said, nobody knows you. Yeah, I've been a homebody, you know, I'm in a relationship for 5 years. And so we talked, and, you know, fell in love, and we got married. We started dating May of 2000 and I want to say it was May of 2014. We got married October 2016. Yeah, so 2.5 years later. Yeah, we got married.
So basically the whole story why you texted her is because, excuse me, feminists, body count matters.
Yeah, by a mile. Body count matters for a woman. It's your mileage.
Especially from your town.
Of course. And by the way, anybody's town, like in Miami, it don't matter. It matters. I know what I was looking for. I tell my guys now, now in hindsight, and by the way, Erica's not my first wife. I was married previous to her. And she might even see this. I don't know. Somebody knows her might see this too. But great woman. She's nothing wrong with her. Great woman. Phenomenal woman. Was not promiscuous. Was hardworking. Nothing wrong with her. It just didn't work out between us. More my fault than hers. Not so much her fault. But
she got something on you?
No.
Does she blackmail you?
She got nothing on me. No, she's, I can't accuse her of anything because she didn't do anything wrong, It would be very foul for me to say anything else. It was my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. I just, this is where I'm going to go to next. I tell guys all the time, never marry a girl or date a girl that doesn't have a father in her life. They don't know how to cater to you. And I don't mean cater, I mean like a slave for all the fucking feminine. That's not what I mean. A man needs to cater to his wife as well. You're married. You understand. You have to cater to your wife as well, right? You don't have to. You choose to because I love my wife. I love to cater to my wife. They don't know how to love you and show that affection to you. And
they have daddy problems.
They have those problems. And so that's kind of the disconnect that I had with her. She was you could be a great person, but it doesn't mean you're a great partner.
Yeah, a great wife.
Yeah, great wife. You don't have to be a bad person to be a good wife. And so anyway, but all those things mattered to me. Her parents are still together. My wife Erica, to this day, she was raised with her father, raised at home, good. Parents never had to discipline her because she's always been a good girl. God-fearing, I tell my young guys now, I say, guys, you got to look at all that stuff. Tell me what the family looks like, and that's going to be your family. And at 36 years old, and after, now having a very successful career and coaching literally thousands of people, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, that plays a major role. I'm not coming from a place of like, it's because of me. No. I've literally coached thousands of people, thousands and thousands of couples, and I'm not even exaggerating those numbers. Every time the wife or the girlfriend was raised without a father, that marriage has problems. It never fails. It never fails. Now, have I met couples that are going through a hard time who both of them had fathers in their life?
Sure.
Yes, but you can fix those problems easier because they had an example of parents that pushed through it. Does that make sense?
What about the guys that grew up without a father?
Those are very difficult to deal with too because there's no accountability. There's no respect.
They have no idea what it's like to be a man.
They don't know what it is. By the way, I'm one of them. My father's in my life, but my parents got divorced when I was 6.
That's the part of the reason why you got into jail?
Oh, hell yeah. Had my dad been in our house at the time, my dad would not allow me to do all the shit that I did. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way my father would have allowed me to act up the way I did. He would have whooped my ass left and right. And I needed it at that time, So when I was 6 years old, my parents got divorced, and my dad obviously was no longer in the house. He's always been a part of my life. My dad's not a deadbeat. He's always been responsible with this, but there's only so much you can do from a distance.
Yes.
You have your son here, Richard. There's no way you're going to be able to raise this boy the same if you're not in the household every day. You getting him 1 weekend a month or 2 weekends a month or every weekend is not the same of being there 5 days a week watching his every move. It's not the same thing.
And you try to be a good dad for that weekend.
For that weekend. But then what about the other 5 days when you no longer can control anything that he does? So because I was that man that was raised without a father in the household, even though he was in my life, I had a lot of difficulties that up until I'm 36, up until in my early 30s, I had to fight through. I'm surprised my wife stuck it out with me this long. I wouldn't have stuck it out with me this long. I come with a lot of baggage because of now I can tell you I'm good now and I have a lot to improve, but I have a good foundation now. Mm-hmm. But I built that as an adult.
But bro, wait a minute. So you didn't hang out with your brother at all, right. But he was the one that introduced you to your wife, and he's the one that introduced you to your company.
To my company
that helped you earn millions.
That's part of being brothers.
Bro, you owe him.
Yeah.
Almost everything. Alejandro, come on.
A million times. My brother, if it wasn't for my brother, I would have not met my wife. And if it wasn't for my brother sticking it out, I would have been in a business, but I wouldn't be in this business. And to be quite frank with you, which I've never been shy away from, I would probably be in prison or dead right now because of the things that I was doing back then. I was making a shitload of money, but I was not doing it the right way. I was following a lot of my family's footsteps, the way I was raised and what I saw growing up. And I had already been doing time before. My house got raided multiple times. So I'll probably be dead or in jail right now for a very long time had I not got introduced to what I'm doing right now. Because once I saw it, I'm like, man, this makes sense, and I'm going to run with it. And yeah, we became millionaires in it. And now I don't have to watch over my back. I don't have to worry about my house getting raided. You know what I mean? So yeah, I absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, and I say that with the utmost gratitude to my brother, is I appreciate that to him. That's I'm always going to, and that's why I'm also his biggest guy in this team. Nobody even comes close to the size of my team. I'm 80% of my brother's team. But I say that with pride. I made sure of that. That's the way I can thank him, because it was like brokerages, like real estate. My brother has his brokerage. I'm under his brokerage. Now, this every year my brother makes $350,000 a year off of my organization. And
by doing nothing.
By doing nothing. He doesn't have to do anything. But that's my way of thanking him. So, he introduces me, not consciously, not on purpose, introduces me to my wife, but I wouldn't have met my wife without him. That's no doubt about that, because I didn't know her and we didn't have the same friends. I didn't even know her best friend. I had seen her around, but I never spoke to her. Mm-hmm. So chances of me meeting my wife would have been slim to none. Number one. Number two, had my brother not joined this business, the financial services industry, I would have never have got into this business. There's no way. So there's just no way in hell that I would have got into it, So therefore, my way of thanking him now is being, 75%, 80% of his organization and what he makes now. And I say that with pride. I'm very proud that when he makes money, he makes, $50,000, $60,000 a month. I'm very proud that, $25,000 to $30,000 a month come from my organization, and I say that with pride. I'm so grateful for that, and that's why I fight so hard for him, And at the beginning when I started this business, and I really didn't want to do it. I wanted to do other things. I fought for him, And to this day, I'm his biggest guy. There's not even nobody that even comes close to my organization, I make sure of that, and I would never allow it. I would never allow anybody to get close to the size of. If they grow, I'm going to grow bigger, Because it's my pride. That's my brother.
You just got to keep up with the kids. He's got 3, right?
He has 3 of them. Yeah, they're my little homies.
You want to share how did you get up? How did you ended up in jail?
Yeah. So which time? I went to jail many times. So the first time I ended up in jail, I was 18 years old. We're at a barbecue, and I get a phone call from, this is so crazy. I get a phone call from a friend of mine, and we're barbecuing, it's Sunday, and he says, hey, my baby's mom's boyfriend is acting up. Like, he's not letting her leave the house, but I don't care about her, but my son's with them, right? She's not letting him leave the house. He's not letting her leave the house, and my son's there. And I had a reputation back then of not being the nicest guy in the world. I had a reputation of doing some damage if I needed to. So naturally, I got those phone calls. I don't trip. Where you at? Give me the address. I'm on the other side of town. I said, no worries. So I started loading my gun. I loaded my 45 Ruger. I loaded my shotgun. I get a couple of my boys. I don't want to say their names, but I got two brothers. I get 2 brothers. Hey, let's roll. They're calling me. Let's come with me. Let's go. And they kind of wanted to roll because I had that reputation. So, when they saw me loading my shit, they're like, hey, what's up? What's up? Well, let's roll then. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to go by myself, but you guys want to roll? Let's roll. So we pull up. It's broad daylight. It's probably like 5 in the afternoon. It's during the, no, it was in October. October 3rd of 2008. And so there's still daylight at 5 o'clock. It's kind of going down, but it's still daylight. And so we get there to the house, and I'm like 2 houses down, and I started bringing my guns down, right? So I'm like packing my Ruger, the shotgun, like I'm taking it out. Like, I don't care. Like, it's like a fucking movie. Like, I don't care that people are watching, right? Like, Like, I'm not doing it in secret. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting ready to, I'm gonna ransack this house. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna go, if I have to go at it with these guys, then I'm gonna go at it. Like, that's what's gonna happen. But, I'm there to help my boy, Well, the neighbors saw what was going on, and so they called the cops. But the cops didn't pull up with their sirens. They didn't pull up fast. So what happened is that they blocked off the street. They put their cars and blocked off the streets on the sides. And they had 2 cops with their rifles on both sides of the street walking like this. So by the time we saw them, they're within 15 feet of us. There's no running. Like, you're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? There's 4 of them. 2 on this side, 2 on this side. Like, they're so close. And there's no, like, running, hiding. I mean, you kid around, you're not going to get very far. And then the helicopter ended up showing up like 2 minutes after that. There's no getting away from them. So then they arrest me. They arrest all of us. But I took the rap. I'm like, hey, they're my guns. They don't have anything to do with it. I didn't want the other 2 brothers to catch a case over something they didn't do, They were there with me. But at the end of the day, it was my responsibility. So I go to jail. And so that happens. I go to court on a Monday. I see the judge. I go to court on a Monday. I have to turn myself in now for that on Friday. So Monday I go to court. The judge says, I say, can you give me a few days to turn myself in? Because I was working. I had a job. I wanted to let my job know that I was going to go away for a little bit. It was not going to be long. I don't remember how long it was going to be, but it was not going to be long. Well, that happens Monday. Friday, I'm supposed to turn myself in. Well, Monday, I caught another case. Wednesday, I caught another case. So in between court and having to turn myself in, I was involved in a much bigger situation, much bigger, which I don't really want to talk about, but it was involved guns, and this time it was not just, it was not just.
So looking back now, you were just what, dumb, young?
I was young.
Too much testosterone?
Yeah, I was wild. I wanted. I saw a lot of my uncles go to federal prison for many years. I have cousins doing life sentences.
Here or in Mexico?
Both here and in Mexico. I have uncles that have been deported by the federal prison system. So when you're raised seeing that, like, it's normal for you to just take matters into your own hands. There's songs about my family. There's corridos, which you call them corridos in Spanish. There's corridos about my family. I come from a town very well known. There's songs about my family, not only about individuals, but there's literally songs talking about stories of warring with other families over in Mexico. And so when you're kind of raised and you see that, you idolize that.
Yeah.
It's
you
normal
think it's cool.
to you. You think it's cool. All my mom's cousins, my uncle, my mom's brother have been in prison multiple times, gun charges, this and that. Her cousins have all been shot, have killed people, have died. I saw a lot of that shit growing up, and not because of, like, gangs, like, it's real heavy shit. You know what I mean? So,
But it's from both families, fathers and mothers?
Fathers and mothers. More on my mom's side. My dad's side, they're more on the political spectrum, but on my mom's side, they're more on the heavier shit. So when you see your uncles pull up in these big, beautiful trucks, and they have gold chains and necklaces, they have power and big houses, that's what you aspire to be. So that's what motivated me to want to do the things that I did.
But it's almost you had no chance avoiding it, right?
You could always avoid it. It would be a victim mindset to say,
But how? You didn't have father.
Yeah, and my dad. Yeah, there was no escaping the example. I mean, sure, I have cousins that never been locked up and never done any time. And they could say, "Hey, I was raised just like you, and I never did that." They can say that, and they're justified to say that. Matter of fact, I have cousins whose their dads have been locked up and been in federal prison for doing shit like that, and they never got involved. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say it was inevitable, but I'm a very I'm of the oldest cousins. On my mom's side, I'm the oldest grandson. On my dad's side, I'm the 5th oldest. So it's like, I'm the oldest. I have a point to prove. I got to follow their footsteps. The younger ones don't have that weight as much.
But it's like, I'm an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic.
Because my dad was an alcoholic.
I'm not an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic.
It's the same concept.
It's 50-50 almost.
Yeah, but being an alcoholic, you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? When you see people with power, you're aspiring to be powerful. So to a certain extent, it's the same, but it's different. Your dad's a fucking alcoholic that drinks all day. There's nothing to admire there. But when you go to parties, you go to uncle's houses, they're fucking huge. and people respect them, and they have money, and everybody knows them. That's a hell of a lot more addicting than alcohol is. Does that make sense? Your dad's a fucking lazy piece of shit. You know, I'm looking at powerful men with influence. It's not the same, you know.
Okay, but how did you stop eventually?
Well, because my wife, when my house got raided in 2015, and
for what?
November of 2015 for same shit. I didn't walk away from everything that I was doing. And
guns
and other shit. You know, they had been watching me for a while. And
I've seen this wild photo, bro.
Yeah, that's.
What's the golden stuff? What's that?
The golden, the grips. Yeah, the grips and.
What is that? The grips? What is that?
The grips for the 1911s. Yeah, for the guns. Yeah. So.
But this vest is Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, it's a Louis Vuitton vest. Yeah. Yeah. So again, when you grow up with a family like mine, so then basically my wife said, if I ever, she said, I understand that this is normal to you, because at that time I had already brought her around, right? I had brought her around, and she heard the stories straight from my grandma, my aunts, my uncles of shit that was happening in Mexico. Like it was like, she was like, is this real? They're talking about when they got shot, when they were being chased by the cops, when they were in prison. You know what I'm saying? So she's hearing all this. Like I never really told her much. I just say, hey, my family's different. We went to
different.
I went to a baptism. We went to a baptism, and I told her, hey, before we go in, I had to give her that pep talk. Like, you know, I come from a different family. This is not gonna be this is not gonna be your typical family.
Whose baptism?
One of my nieces. So I said, this is not gonna be a baptism like
you're used to.
Like you're used to. This is gonna be, the conversations are gonna be a little bit different. So, oh, that's fine. And when she's there, oh yeah, I got shot. My uncle showing her whose wounds when he got shot, which actually it was a hit from one of my uncles. So he raises his shirt and he's like, he got shot because my uncle put a hit on him because he tried to steal a load from him. And it's like when you're hearing that shit, bro, and like when they were in the mountains running from the military in Mexico, and one of my other uncles, Carlos, he was a capo in Mexico for many years. He's here in the States now. You know, they tried killing him. A rival cartel went in, and then they shot him. And then my aunt, Chabelita, took him to a hospital. And then they showed up there to try to kill him. So she sneaked them out of the back, took him to another hospital, so they can So when you're hearing this stuff, that's the way I was raised, bro. So you know. And so she's like, what the fuck? That's fine. She didn't, you know, but once I got raided, you know, in November of 2015, she was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to live my life like this. I was not raised like this. My parents expect more from me. And that day I was like, I'm done. That was it. I walked away.
She gave you an ultimatum?
That was an ultimatum. You know, that was an ultimatum.
But have you ever had a conversation with her whether she was ready just to tame you?
Nobody can tame me, bro. To this day, nobody can tame me.
But you don't do the shit anymore.
Yeah, you can do that, but this is going to be the consequence. You know what I mean? So I said, okay.
But by her bringing the ultimatum, it's basically...
The ultimatum is, but it didn't, taming is, to me, the way I look at it is like force. You tamed by force. I stopped by choice. So I walked away from everything by choice. I said, okay, cool, well then, you know, she says, you can do whatever you want to do.
But you're not touching this anymore.
You're done with me. Like, I'm not going to be a part of your life. And I was not okay with that. I want her to be my wife. She was not my wife at the time. So I said, I want her to be. We got married October of the next year. But we were already engaged. I got engaged to her. I don't remember when I got engaged to her, but it was 2015. So by the time we were already engaged. So she says, I'm not going to live like this. I was not raised like this. I'm not used to this. I know this is normal to you, but it's not normal to me. So I just can't.
But did you cut the ties right away with all your peers that were doing the shit?
A lot of it's family, so you can't really necessarily cut the ties immediately, you know. So, but I mean, I just didn't do anything anymore, so I just walked away from it. Yeah.
They weren't happy?
They didn't really care.
Like, a pussy,
whatever.
No?
No, I didn't get no pushback. No, it's your life, man. You can do whatever you want. You know, I'm my own man. They can't tell me what to do. You know, naturally, they were trying to persuade me to stay. My uncle's like, hey, what's up, man? There's a lot of money to be made here. Like, especially one of my uncles that got out of federal prison in 2017. And he's like the most influential one. He's like the godfather on my mom's side. He's like the godfather, you know, and he got out of prison and he's like, hey, you know, what's up? What are you doing now? What are you wanting to do? Like, what's the game plan? He came out more powerful than when he went in. So And then so that conversation went down of like, hey, I need you. Like, you're good at what you know. I was very good at it. Bro, I was 18 years old driving around in a brand new Beamer. I had a Honda Accord with, I know like, oh, Honda Accord, yeah, but I had it with TVs fixed up. You know, I had guns, money, drugs. You know, by the time I was 21, 22 years old, I was living in a white neighborhood with the white picket fence and the Hummer and the boats and the quads and the Beamers and traveling and Louis Vuitton this and Gucci that. Like, I had it going on, bro. At a very young age, I was very good at what I did. So naturally, my uncles, you know, my uncles like, hey, what's up?
But you know what? When the Bible says don't create idols, it's so true.
They were my idols. By the way, I'll confess to you, my uncles are my idols to this day. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have superheroes. My uncles are my dad and my uncles are superheroes to me. They always will be. Just because I don't follow their footsteps any longer doesn't mean they're not my idols. I don't give a fuck about Superman or Batman or Spider-Man. My uncles are my heroes to this day. I have them tattooed all over my back. You know, my dad and my uncles and my grandfathers, because they're the ones that they're my idols. I love them.
Have they killed anybody?
I don't ask questions like that, but I just, you know.
But if you knew, would they still be your idol?
Absolutely.
How come? They're killers. Intentional killers.
They must have deserved it. Yeah. So I don't. My family members have been killed too. So it's just when you're raised like that, it's like, you know, they killed them for a reason. So if they had to give vengeance for that, then so be it. You know?
What's up with the horses? I see your Instagram, bro. It's a horse.
I dance horses, bro.
You just love them?
I love them.
You ride them?
Yeah, I ride them. Yeah. My cousins are state champions. I was raised with state champions. They're charros, cowboys, state champions. I was raised with horses since I was a little boy.
But these are your horses or just
rented?
Of
course.
You got horses?
Yeah. Well, I actually ended up selling already, but because I didn't have time anymore. But the horses that you see on my page are... Yeah.
But these are expensive, right? How much are those?
$60,000, $70,000 a horse. Yeah.
And that's cheap.
Plus schooling. So your schooling's ranges between $1,200 and $1,500 a month. So, yeah. Zeus, one of the horses you see on there, he's in Brownsville, Texas right now. A guy from Texas bought him.
The black one?
The black one, yeah. Zeus. Yeah, that was his name. I had a chair, gold chair with the gold in the back. It says Zeus in gold, and my name, my R, gold. The sword on the side, gold. My spurs were gold. You know, I had gold accents all over his chair. It's a badass chair he has. But a guy from Brownsville, Texas really wanted. He cried when he got him. So
it's a beautiful horse.
Beautiful horse. Dances beautiful.
And the market is crazy. You can buy horses for millions, right?
Yeah.
Millions for something that is alive.
$500 million.
You can freaking die tomorrow.
Yeah.
And your investment is...
And it happens. It happens. But, you know, but they make you money too because, like, Zeus is, you know, when Zeus would impregnate another horse. I can't remember the word in English right off the top of my head. I really can't. I can't remember the name of the whatever. It's just breeding. Okay, breeding. I don't know. I know that its terminology is in Spanish, but the horse is not in English. In Spanish, they're called maquilas. I just don't know the version of it, but let's call it breeding. I mean, you could charge. It depends, depending on the horse, but the paperwork, because they look at the paperwork, because they have birth certificates. So my horse was born in Holland. They're from Holland. And so I have his paperwork. I have his lineage, who his grandpa was, who his mom was. Yeah, star spurs. Like it's a birth certificate with all his lineage. So they look at the certificate, and you could charge X amount of money.
You're just basically being a pimp.
You're being a pimp of the horse because
legally,
because you can see the lineage. It's like dogs. Look at the lineage. Look at the paperwork. So it's like, you know, it's his birth certificate and his passport,
family tree,
who he's come from, what championships his dad won, his mom won, his grandpa won, his grandma won, his great grandma.
But you can fake this shit.
Well, you can, but there's a registration. Holland has a registration for the horses. Like, it's the horse world. People know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's like the watch world.
It's like a watch world. You know, like you can't, you know, but they know each other because the horse world is also smaller. So you know who has whose horses. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Sure, I mean, yeah, if it's a newcomer to the horse world, you can lie to him. You can, I guess, you know, but we don't really do that shit. I mean, when you're dealing with horses that are $50,000, $60,000, people that can afford that type of shit, they don't need to bullshit you. You know, maybe a $2,000 horse, yeah. But when you're dealing with somebody's going to pay you $50,000, $60,000, yeah, they're going to do their homework on it. They're not going to, you know, $70,000, they're not going to just release that money to you because you faked the fucking birth certificate. You know what I mean?
And you can steal those. Horses.
But you can't steal the paperwork. So good luck, good luck, good luck.
It's just stealing the art, right? You can show it to anybody.
You might even be able to take them anywhere you want because all the freesias look the same.
Yeah.
You'll get away with taking them anywhere you want. You're going to take them to the horse shows, you can do whatever, but when it comes down to selling them or trying to breed them, you're not going to be able to because they're going to ask you for that paperwork. So, yeah. And then you report them stolen. So then Holland knows the horse got stolen. And so therefore they will not duplicate that birth certificate. They'll only duplicate it to you because the horse, even though the organization for them are in Holland, like for my specific horse, they're in Holland. So if I call Holland, hey, here's my police report, they stole my horse, don't duplicate it if somebody hits you up. If anybody tries to duplicate it, they'll come through me. And hey, this person's trying to duplicate it because they're wanting to sell the horse or they're wanting to breed the horse and they won't be able to. So you're not really better, unless you just want to have them to like dance them or do whatever you want, there's no point in stealing them. You're not gonna get anything out of it.
But it's whole another world. Just so there's a watch guys, right? There are sneaker guys, sneakerheads. Bro, they know everything about the sneakers.
And they know each other. Yeah, same thing with us in the horse world. We know each other. Yeah, we know each other.
The baseball
So that's
cards.
the thing, that even if you steal a horse, bro, like we're gonna know. Like we're gonna know. You really gotta take them to where nobody in that area knows them. We're gonna see the horse. We know each other's horses. You know what I mean? We can see them. We see them there. Even though they're all black and they're all the same, they have like a unique thing.
They're the same to me.
Yeah.
But the one who knows.
Yeah, to you
stuff.
it would be the same, but to me, I'm like, hey, that's my like, today is one of my boys' birthdays. I'm like, hey, that's Fresa. That's my boy's horse. Like I'll be able to tell because I'm around them. You know, what I mean, like that's Bigotes, the horses. You know, that's Cholo. I'll recognize the horses. You know what I mean? So if unless you're planning on taking them like cross state lines to where people don't know the horse locally, you're not going to be able to get much out of it. Yeah.
So the last time I asked you this, the last question about being a president, you remember what you asked? What was your question?
What was it again?
So the last question on the podcast is almost the same. Let's have two assumptions, right? You have the president of the U.S. is the most powerful human being on planet Earth.
Yeah.
You become the president of the U.S. and you have this Secret Service at your disposal.
Right.
They tell you, Mr. President, we love you. We're here with you, and we as a Secret Service know everything in the world, right? You can ask us whatever you want. We will give you an honest answer.
Okay.
Do you remember what you asked the first time?
I think I did. Who killed JFK?
Yes, I want to say that. That was the question.
Who killed JFK and who helped Bush organize 9/11? I really believe they know that. And Epstein's list.
Bro, that's a lot of. You're gonna get killed in 2 minutes.
I know, but I would want to know who killed JFK, which I think we kind of already have a good idea of who did. You know, the government killed them.
Okay, so the question is.
By the way, the conclusion right now is that LBJ killed them. There's how the mob killed them. LBJ's the one that I believe in my heart that LBJ, the vice president at the time, is the one that organized. And there's a lot of whistleblowers that have came out that are from that era that worked in the Secret Service and that worked in the government and the CIA that pinpoint LBJ as the prime assassinator of.
So let's say you become the president and you know this information. Would you expose it to the public? Why it's so tricky?
I don't know. I don't know if because. I don't blame these presidents for not wanting to expose that. I'm gonna show you. I think they get just as shocked as I would. I think when I don't care how strong-minded you are, when you find out your own government killed a president, sitting president.
Yeah, but they're all dead.
Yeah, but it's just the idea that because we have we have our government, we have America on this pedestal. You know what I mean? And it's like it's kind of like whenever you find out your dad's cheating on your mom. You know what I mean? Or when your dad is doing something, heinous. Like, you can't fathom that. Like, it's hard to fathom.
I know you don't like superheroes, but did you watch The Dark Knight, Batman? So in the last scene in The Dark Knight, this attorney is the bad guy. But the Batman says, the population can't fathom this. So I'm going to be the bad guy. We're going to blame everything on me. Because if we're going to blame everything on the good guy, which is the bad guy, they will not understand this. So that's what you're saying. People can handle the truth.
I can handle the truth. When it comes down to asking the questions that I have, answers that I have, the questions that I have, I don't know if I can handle it.
Okay, so let's take...
let alone 360 million Americans plus all the illegals.
Let's have... you have the Epstein list. Expose it or not?
Yes, by a mile. No questions asked. fast, immediately. Arrest them all. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. That I don't have a problem with, because I was hurting. They hurt, and they had sex rings. I have no mercy for people to do sexual acts, heinous acts against another human being. For them, I don't have no fucking mercy. I don't give a fuck who's on the list. I don't give a fuck who's on it. But like, who killed our president, who killed JFK, that's a different story. Not because of who did it, is that the fact that we were willing to go that far to get him out of that chair, that we killed him, you know.
So Trump said yesterday, I was
that
watching.
He would release the Epstein list,
and he said that he's going to release the JFK files.
I don't think he's going to do it.
But do you think that...
He said that last time.
Yeah. But then he said, I was told... No, he said, if you knew what I know, you would never do that either.
Yeah. Going back to the same thing, that he knows that he can't handle the truth.
So we're basically sheep. And it's sad. It's sad.
I just think that, like... Look, I don't agree with JFK's assassination at all. I wouldn't agree with any president, whether I agree with them or not. I don't agree with that assassination. I just don't think he's wrong, man. I don't think people can handle it. And it's not so much being sheep. What countries have been built off of being saints? Like, you don't think that I'm aware that we've meddled in other people's elections? Yeah.
Bro, the U.S. has done dozens of coups around the world in the last 100 years.
Tell you something that's gonna sound so fucked up right now.
Do it.
I don't give a fuck. You know why? Just make sure I'm safe here at home.
But you're not okay having Chinese over here, maybe interfering.
No, I agree with you. But I don't care if they do it to somebody else. If they were a threat to us, bomb them. Fuck it. Take out their president. I want my wife to get home safe every day. I want my mom to get home safe every day. And if that comes at the cost of having to meddle in somebody else's presidency because they're a threat to us, fucking so be it, bro. So be it. It's you over us. You're choosing to do that. Why are they meddling in your elections? Why are they dethroning you? Because you're doing some fucking crazy shit. You're doing something that's going to affect us. So if you're going to do something to affect us, I want them to take you out. And I would support it all the way. If you're going to be a threat to us, how many presidential things do we not? How many countries do we not meddle in there? Like, you think we can meddle in Russia's elections?
No way.
No way. How about Germany's? Let's call it for what it is. What do you think about Germany's? You think we can meddle in Germany's? You don't think they're on their own power?
I think it's a fallen country.
What about Italy? Countries that can sustain themselves, can we meddle in their elections? I'm not saying it's impossible. Likelihood. You think we can influence the Italian people from here?
That's a good question. So a week ago, Pavel Durov, the CEO of Telegram, was arrested in France.
Who?
Pavel Durov. He invented the Telegram, the messenger, in France.
Yeah.
Do you think it was done without the CIA?
No. I'm not saying that our agencies won't work together.
So that's how they do. That's how.
Yeah, it's true, but I don't think when I say meddle. Okay, let me reframe that. Let me go back. When I say we're literally going there and take out their president, like we go out there and take them the fuck out.
Yes.
Like we've done in Venezuela, like we've done in Honduras. Right? Like we've done in South America.
Nicaragua.
Can you pull that shit off in Russia, Germany, Italy? Probably not. Because
they will just submit. You're saying like, bro, this is what you're gonna do. If not, this is gonna happen. This is what's going to happen.
Can you do the same thing to those bigger countries? Probably not. They have Interpol. They have money. They have euros. They work. They don't need us from a monetary standpoint. All of Central America needs us. They don't have natural resources.
NATO needs you. If not the U.S., NATO would flop.
I agree, but what I'm saying is, for the most part, with these bigger, more powerful countries, you have less of an influence over them.
Because you're aligned with the politics.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is, like, for example, like Venezuela, like Cuba. You know, Cuba's a small country. Mm-hmm. But they were a threat to us. Fucking take them out. Meddle in there.
Because they're too close to you.
So
fuck it.
I'm good with it.
Oh, taking them out?
Yeah. Take them out. Take out the president. I'm not talking about the people.
Yeah.
Take out the president. Take him out. Meddle in it. I don't care. Use dark money. Take him out. You're too close to home, bro.
But all those countries are fucked up. Honduras, Nicaragua, Cuba,
Take all of
Haiti,
them. Take all the presidents
Haiti.
out. If they act stupid, take them out. I'm good with it. I'm a full supporter of black money taking out these presidents that are a threat to us.
At least we're being honest. Bro.
Oh, I'm being very honest, and I'm very well aware that it's so easy to live in America, bro, and judge America. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to be here. Oh, we're so bad. Then fucking go over there then, if they're so fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Like, go over there then. Then go to that country that you feel bad for and go help them reinstate their country while they're saying death to America and fucking burning the flag.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the way you really feel, then go over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with it. Smoke them all. I'm good with it.
Until they don't do the same thing to you.
And I don't want them to do the same thing to us. That's what I'm telling you.
China is doing the same thing.
Kill them before they kill us. I'm good with it, bro. It's gonna sound very contradicting, but I really don't care.
So basically you're not mad that Putin invaded Ukraine then? Because if Ukraine wanted to be just in NATO, they wanted to be a part of it.
Do I blame Putin?
Yes.
No. He told them, don't come close. Stay away. And Zelensky didn't listen. He joined NATO.
500,000 Ukrainians died. It's horrible.
Whose fault is that?
Not the people's fault.
Whose fault is it?
So hear me out. Me as an independent country, as a Ukrainian, right? I can do whatever I want. If I want to become a NATO member, I can do it. It doesn't let you, my neighbor, to come to me and kill my citizen.
If I'm telling you, you're letting the enemy too close to my house.
Defend yourself.
Okay, watch this. Cool.
I know you're going to say with Mexico.
No. Watch this. Your neighbor says, it's my apartment complex, my building, my house, my neighbor, my condo, whatever, my property, my building. And he's your neighbor. And he says, hey, I'm my own person.
Yes.
And he lets a bunch of terrorists in his house. You're good with it.
Of course not. I leave it.
Why?
Right?
It's his house.
In 5 minutes.
It's his house. Leave him alone. Who are you to tell him what he should do?
But it doesn't let me kill him.
Okay, cool. Your house is next, though. As soon as they establish forces there, you're next.
So that's the thing. That's why they blame Putin, because he acted first.
He told them, don't get close. Why is it okay for us to be sovereign? Why were we getting ready to bomb Cuba? Why?
Because
in the 50s.
Because of the same thing. Cuba is too close.
So why is it okay for us to do it and Putin says, no, I don't want you close to me?
Because you dictate the narrative.
Huh?
Because you dictate the narrative, the rhetoric.
Bro, he doesn't want he doesn't want people close to his country. Do you blame him?
Him? No.
Okay. There you go.
But it doesn't let him kill innocent people.
I don't disagree with you. That's not the point.
And I'm saying this
But
because my mom is Ukrainian.
He told Zelensky, don't do it.
Fuck you. I'm an independent country.
Cool, then fuck you too then.
That's what we have right now.
Well,
500,000 Ukrainians wiped out.
Okay, so if you're independent, what the fuck you need NATO for?
I want to be a part of the party.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't want you that close to my house, partying. He has to protect his country. And if you let the enemy come in next door, your house is next. We did it to Cuba with the Soviets.
You did it the same with Vietnam and Korea.
We did the
You
same
were afraid
thing.
of communism.
We did the same thing. Why all of a sudden we act like we're some fucking morally superior people here in America when we've done the same shit to Venezuela, when we did the same shit to Honduras, when we've done the same shit to South America? We did the same thing. All of a sudden we're morally superior and Putin's bad? The fuck? No way. Why did we do it to Venezuela? Because we know they have all their oil. And they had a crazy president there that with all that money would want to do some crazy shit. And what did America say? Fuck no. Right? Hey, aren't they their own country? Let them do whatever they want. Nah, bro, you're too close to home.
You've got too much oil.
You're too close to home. I don't care if you have too much oil. You're too close to home and your ideas are wacko. You would be a threat to us.
Yeah, but the Arabs are not very
They're
close
on
to
the other side of the
home.
world.
They have lots of oil, bro.
They're on the other side of the world. The threat of invasion of them is not as imminent as the threat of invasion or the threat.
Venezuela can do shit to the US.
Venezuela could ever invade.
Yes.
Oh my God. Really? What did Japan do to China?
Yeah, but the Japan
Then
was
we forget
far
that-
superior
Then we forget that
technologically.
the Japanese
which
that
is
are,
a small
that are
country.
smaller the size of California. They're smaller than the size of California.
140 million, I want to say, population now.
They were throwing Chinese kids up and catching them with bayonets. And China's this fucking big. Japan's this big. So miss me with that shit. Miss me with this too small. Nobody's too fucking small. Great Britain, Americans were smaller compared to the Great Britons. And we fucking took them out. So anybody that does these stupid ideologies have never, ever opened up a history book. Ever. If they think that a country's too small to fuck with you.
But if those history books are written just by the victors,
The only victim written by the winners. I agree. By the way, who should read? That's the only history I want to read, where you won. I don't want to read history of losers. I would never read a book from some. I would never read a book that Charles Barkley would ever write. You never won a championship, motherfucker. I'm never gonna read your book. I'm never gonna watch your movie. You didn't win a championship. I'm never gonna read a book from from T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. Never in my life. You never won a championship, Dick. I don't give a fuck what you gotta say.
LeBron has what, 5?
Did you fuck him too? But did you watch Michael Jordan's
Last Dance?
The Last Dance?
Of course, 2 times.
How many people call him a tyrant?
All of them.
Of course. Because the losers in the story will always say you were a tyrant.
Well, I would like to read the history books that are true. I don't care about the narrative. I want
I agree with
to. I want to
you,
hear
but
the
only
truth.
people that write the history books are the winners. I want to learn from winners.
But can you imagine if they
I don't
lie?
want to waste my time reading from losers.
But if media lies to you every day, can you imagine what's in the history books?
Hey, what is Patrick Bet-David saying? Outwork,
Out strategize and
out-strategize, and outlast. The ones that wrote the history books out-strategize and outlasted the competition. I don't give a fuck to hear what the competition has to say. You lost. Period.
would you say China out strategizes right now US?
Best strategists in the world. Way better than us. No. Let me reframe that. They're not better than us. We are being ran by bureaucrats, and they're not. They don't have better strategies than we do. We're just being ran by bureaucrats, and they don't allow that. They are a dictatorship, which I don't agree with. Right? They're communists. I don't agree with that.
I like when people say they're not communists.
Of course.
CCP. Communism, Party of China.
Yeah.
Like, how is this?
What the fuck are you talking about? It's in the title of their country. They're communists. So,
Bro, what's next?
take over the world. Kids are next. Kids.
How many?
3. God willing. God willing. The only one true God. Not multiple gods.
You enjoy the process?
Yahweh willing. Jehovah willing. 3 kids. Yeah. The only true God.
You enjoy the process?
Oh, I've very
big
much
fan?
enjoyed the process. Very much enjoyed the process.
So, Ricardo, God bless you.
Thank you. Likewise, brother.
May God bless all your family, your future
Likewise.
kids.
Thank you.
You got to keep up with Alejandro. He has 3.
Yes, he has 3. Yeah.
You have to have 3.
I have to. That's why I'm gonna have 3.
I'm doing my work as well.
There you go.
Enjoying the process.
Yeah, join the process. We're all gonna be in the process together.
Let's do the part 3 in a year.
Let's do it.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And let's hope. Bro, listen to me. So every day I pray to God so that communists do not take over the U.S.
Yeah, of course.
That's the last place on earth you want to be.
Yeah.
And if communists take over, that's it.
Yeah.
You have nowhere to go. Like nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Europe is done.
I'm just very confident that we have a lot of strong patriots here that are not going to allow that to happen.
They just have to show up and
They will
and
show
vote
up.
and vote.
Yeah, but
to make to rig.
they try to strong arm us, I fully, wholeheartedly believe our patriots are going to overpower that. I have that much faith in our patriots. I really believe that our patriots will fight against that.
You know, I'm a little bit sad because for the 30 years I was dreaming of coming to the US by watching the Hollywood movies. And I've seen this paradise, right? That they they showed me in the movie. But once I came here, like, bro, what the fuck is this?
The
homeless, drug addicts. LA is like Gotham.
Yeah.
The helicopters are every day.
Yeah.
Police sirens every 2 to 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Give me that American dream. I want to work.
Oh, yeah.
I'm willing to work 14 hours a day. Give me that American dream again.
Yeah.
I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
You have taken that away from me.
Yeah,
I was watching the movies, bro.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yeah, we will. I know a lot of people, bro.
So you're responsible for this.
I'm
You're responsible for my happiness,
yes.
bro, for my American
We're
dream.
gonna make sure that American dream comes back.
Okay,
Yes.
we have a deal.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this whole podcast till the very end. I would like to ask you for 3 simple things. Like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already, and share this video with your friends and peers. God bless you. Bye-bye.